All right. What don't we like about the thumbnail? Should we get it out of the way now? Like right away? What's
I think the thumbnail's fine. I think it's totally fine. You know, it's like we're back, a dinosaur story
Oh my god.
you're just
with
trying
Hitman coming to kill you.
you're just trying to not make me angry.
I'm gonna be nice to you today.
I'm gonna
Be
need
nice to
that.
both of you.
I'm gonna need that. All right. Hey, hopefully everyone's ready for one heck of a show, man. Let's cue the cat.
Cue the cat because I want to say Happy New Year. Welcome back. First of all, welcome back, Brian Paul, Dave Station VR, PSVR Underground, and what is up, Paper Mache Man, Todd the Father Mucking King Cat, the Gully Matrix, Virtual Slayer Cat, Woody the Bluebird, Abe Chow, Hibsy the Game Cat, our local news scooper, Charlie Fist the Game Cat. Hi. The Game Cat in the chat. Hello. Missed all of you guys so much. So good to see you guys. Robbie B, the posh proper Game Cat. Pippo the Pig, the mysterious Game Cat. He's added some on there. I like it. Pippo. Darth Vader, Lord Vader in the house. What's up, Sith Lord? Your Long Shadows. Enjoying my very last Christmas soda of the year. You cherish that Christmas soda. Is that like whiskey? Is that what you drink over there? Red Rover, the effing Game Cat, Hack the Game Cat, Decepticon. Oh yeah, Secrets of. So many of you, Mr. Game Cat Canaveral. What's up, guys? Kyle Gaffney, hello. Ben Lee, the Spots in Game Cat. Carlos Liea. Kyle Necht, what is up? Nick Mulo, Trusty Mods in the house, be on your best behavior. Ian Stanbridge, hello. Carlos Castro, thank you so much. We are glad to be back. Aren't we, fellas? Beard of Power, 666, Handicapable Gamer, 9 Lives the Game Cat. Love you too. Alvo, what's up, Alvo? Aceville, the Attack Cat.
The timer's already going. I love that I can't even start our first show of 2021 without something going wrong immediately. So hopefully someone out there is letting us know if we should or should not be playing it or doing it or watching something. You've got 44 seconds left, my friends.
What have you been playing?
This is PSVR GamesCast Live, where we film live every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern. We bring it to you live because that's what live means. Man, so sorry we didn't bring you one last week. We'll try to make up for it this week. No promises.
It's okay. I had everything covered. Nothing to see here, folks. I had everything covered. Put the team on my back. My back hurts. It's really sore. So I'm glad to have both of you back into it.
Yeah, I heard you did an admirable job without us last week.
It was terrible.
I tuned in to see you carrying us, and I was like, oh, I'm sure he's gonna just do a video game hangout where he plays some games, he talks to everybody, and we just ran out of time. And I tuned in to see a single person games cast on AJ's channel, and I was like, oh, he doesn't need us after all.
I need you. Don't leave me.
That's right. My name's Brian Paul from this channel right here, PSVR Without Parole. And to my right, the boys, Dave from Dave Station VVVR.
Hello, everyone. How's it going? I haven't played any VR shit. My shoulder has been busted for like 2 weeks almost, week and a half at this point.
Can you explain how you did that? Somebody said you were playing a game. I talked to you on the phone, and I still don't know what the truth is.
No, I was in the kitchen and there was like wet tile and I didn't notice it and I just slipped and I was like trying to brace myself on the way down and just fucked it up pretty bad.
Damn. I know I talked to you on the phone. I was like delirious all week, man. This is the first time I've been out of bed in like a week. And so like every conversation I've had in the last week, I don't really remember all that well. And there's people have been messaging me and stuff. And if you have been, I apologize. Unless you're my mom, I probably didn't respond to you. So very sorry about that. I've had the flu. Don't worry. It wasn't COVID. Still getting over it. But, you know, almost there. And, of course, the guy in the far right-hand side of the screen, the guy who's been carrying us for a week, AJ from Underground, PSVR Underground.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Oh, you hear that? That's the sound of GamesCast being back.
Is that a Christmas soda?
That's a Monster Energy drink, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
This is my first coffee
Delicious
in a
energy.
week.
Time to transform, AJ.
So for those who, you know, he just explained, but for those who don't know, I've been wondering what's been going on. Brian did have the flu. Dave's got a physical injury. So that's why you haven't heard from him. I know a lot of people were asking about them, and yes, they're okay. They're alive and well, as you can see, half alive, I guess. They're kind of Frankenstein together. But
I know how to do
just
everything
in case
with my
that
left
wasn't
hand
clear.
now. And I mean everything.
Everything.
I'm just kidding.
Excellent, guys. Well, I'm sure we're going to have plenty of time to shoot the shit today. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot of news to cover. We've got a whole year to talk about. But I think we should begin this show the way we begin every show, with a little game of should we or shouldn't we. We put 60 seconds up on the clock up on the counter, the way, let's face it, we all like it. And it's our time to tell you, the loyal game cats, whether you should or should not be left-handed, playing in or watching in or doing the things that we've been playing in or watching in or doing. Who would like to go first?
I'm Spartacus.
So
Okay.
AJ's up.
I
Excellent.
guess that means AJ's up.
All right. Well, let me let me fix the timer, because the timer should not have been up.
I should have thought of something before I said that.
You should have, and I'm going to delay just a second because you're Long Shadows, very generous with the 50 knocking on heaven's doors with a tip that says beverage game looking strong, Dave Ketchup. Beverage game looking strong, Dave Ketchup.
Well, since he tipped,
Drink
that,
some ketchup. Just drink ketchup
he
straight
wants
out
me
of the
to have
bottle.
A cool drink like you guys have.
Freebase that shit.
My drink isn't
This is
cool.
my
It's
one
just
and only.
coffee.
I'm going to take a little half just for you.
Man, I could use that.
Yeah.
And of
Helps
course,
with the arm, I'll tell you that.
and a $2 donation from Mad Max, the Mad Game Cat, with saying Happy Meow Year. AJ jealous of Hitman VR gameplay.
Why are you jealous? First of all,
It's not
thank
like
you, Mad
played
Max.
it. You
Witness.
didn't play it.
I didn't play it in VR. Why are you jealous? We all get to play it together at the same time when it comes out.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that. We're going to talk a little bit about it today, so that'll be fun. I think we might be saving the real big mamma jamma conversation for next week, but definitely some stuff that surfaced today that we want to talk about, because Hitman so far is awesome, and you need to be paying attention if you haven't been.
AJ, on your mark. Get Dez. Go.
All right, so I'm going to be pulling from Saturday Night Live streams. Spoiler alert. And that game is Zone of the Enders. Zone of the Ender. Is it with Ender or Enders?
The Enders with an S.
Okay, so I had it right. And
Colon, second runner.
this is definitely not a game for everybody. However, it goes on sale a lot for like $5-6 and stuff. And the majority of this game, it is a Kojima game in VR. It only uses the DualShock, but you're like controlling a mech suit and stuff. And if you're into mechs and smashing robots and hack and slash games, button mashers with lots of flying around in first person and having some special moves, then I think Zone of the Enders is an absolute should we. It's not a high priority game, but again, it's pretty cool to see a Kojima game in VR and have destructible environments that like fall apart and stuff. And it's a good game overall. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I liked how they took they didn't like totally redo the cutscenes, but they made the flat cutscenes have 3D depth to them, which was a really cool effect that I don't see enough of in games that hold on to their cutscenes. Because if Resident Evil had done that with the initial intro cutscene where it's all flat 2D, if that had like depth to it, that would have like blown people away, I think. So
I 100% agree. And I just realized what my should we was going to be Skyrim VR. I was supposed to be
Skyrim. Might have heard of that one before.
Because I kicked off 2021 doing a Saturday Night Live stream, same video, and I see Red Rover in the chat. I rode a Dargan, Red Rover, rode a Dargan just for you, man, and it was glorious. It was an epic journey to get there, and it was so much fun.
Guys, I think we got a couple tips to take care of, starting with Ash VR with $2 donation saying, happy to see you guys' faces. We're happy to see your faces too. It's been
show me your face. Put your face on the avatar.
Yeah, there you go. It's funny. I just assume everybody looks like their avatar. You go a while and you just think Geisen looks like that the Street Fighter dude. It's not a Street Fighter.
He kind of does look like a Street Fighter dude, though.
A little bit
in real life, because
bit.
we've met him, and he does.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to mess with him. Mr. Sonic. I still to this day believe that Mr. Sonic is actually Sonic, and I'm like afraid to see what he actually looks like, because if I see anything other than a blue hedgehog, I'm gonna be like really confused and disappointed. Mm-hmm. So, the day that we meet Mr. Sonic, you're gonna have to be wearing a Sonic like suit costume thing.
Oh wow, you're making them dress up.
That's
some
intense shit, for sure.
Gotta preserve the mystique.
All right.
We also have Red Rover, the effing game cat, with the $30 donation, saying, "I have no words." See, no words. Arrows pointing to nothing. Nothing. Right. Dude, thank you so much for your generosity. Who's up next? Darth Vader, the game cat, with a $10 donation, saying, "Hello, Brian, I hope you're feeling better, and I have amazing news. I scored a PS5. It'll be here around January 29th. Snagged it today during the GameStop restock. That is fantastic news. Yeah. Congratulations. I hope this is going to be a more of a recurring theme that we start hearing a lot more of people saying, instead of being like, oh, you know what, I tried again today and I failed, or they ran out of stock before I even got there, kind of thing. I hope the story we start hearing more of is, I got one. You know, that's going to be a good sign as they start restocking these things.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to PSVR Jew, who also snagged one today and messaged me. I know she was going from an OG PS4.
Oh, wow.
So I'm curious to know, Darth Vader, did you have a Pro or an OG? Because if you had an OG and you're going to a PS5, you are in for a treat for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And I think
there she is, can catch you.
The end of the tips. Texatron, the indoor cat, with the $2 donation, saying, "Final Assault is my should we? Buy. Yeah, especially for that new $10 price they knocked it down to, which is insane."
He gave it the InSync.
Texo knows what's up.
You gotta buy that.
I like that. And Shades of Grey got in. Shades of Grey Matter got in just under the wire with the Canadian $2 donation, saying, 30 minutes chasing Dargan, 1 minute riding. Worth it?
That's an exclamation point.
That is exclamation worth it.
Worth it.
It was a mess, man. I had to hunt that dragon down. I had to deal with like some glitches there. You know, I jumped on the dragon, and I don't know what the season was, but I don't know. They were kind of like into each other, and so I was riding the dragon, and it was go watch it.
Wait, did they mate? What are you talking about?
You go watch the video.
Okay, okay, watch it.
Then we also have. I mean, see you guys later. If you want to do your should we first, and we'll let you go for a little while, and you can come back when you're ready. And of course, the handicapable gets in under the wire too with the $5 donation, saying, "First live show I've been able to catch in over a year, so just showing some love."
Oh yeah!
Thank you so much, man. That's it.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't seen your name in quite a while, so thank you for stopping by.
I support accessibility in games. More accessibility. That is something that should be.
I think only internet troll capital G gamers have problems with accessibility. Really, like who else would have a problem with accessibility?
I love Bloodborne. I'm all for a Bloodborne easy mode for people.
Oh, I want a Sekiro easy.
Just don't show up talking shit. Be like, I beat it in 3 hours. Right. Well, why did it take you a month? I'll be like,
Everybody in the chat is gonna tear us over.
You better have your trophies.
Sekiro easy modes.
You better have your trophies visible if that's the case, or I will find them. I look at people's trophies all the time.
You don't look at mine all the time because mine are hidden from the world. They're too good, man. They're too good. My trophy list is too good. People get real competitive and stuff, and they're like, "Brian, I just can't keep up. I can't be friends with you anymore." And I'm like, "That's the reason, I'm sure."
I'm gonna have to call Greg Miller, and I'm gonna get Greg to come after you next.
Yeah, Greg and I will have we can revitalize the Platinum Trophy War Wars. Trophy War Wars. You know what? I should give up. I should totally give up and just let you guys carry on the show at this point.
All right, we got 15 minutes out of you.
It's actually more than I thought we were going to get. Dave, are you ready for your should we or shouldn't we?
I am, yeah.
All right, on your mark, get Des, go.
So this is a game that everybody in the world should already know is good. It won a bunch of Best of 2020 Game Awards in various categories. I dragged my feet on it for whatever reason. It's Hades. Hades is so damn good. I haven't had a chance to get really deep into it, but just the core mechanics are really fun. I mean, I love roguelikes. It's got sort of a, it's like an isometric Diablo style view, but then you've got that awesome art style from the developers who made Bastion and Pyre and all these other games. They always have a really distinctive art style, so it's gorgeous. And it's just like, it mechanically feels really good. The way they incorporate the story is really good. I see why so many people were ranting and raving about this game. I've seen like really impressive game designers be like, this is a perfectly made game. like everything about it works the way it's supposed to. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more of it because I can only play controller games, right? So
yeah,
it's
that's
good shit.
Switch only, right?
It's on PC too, but yeah, it's not on PlayStation.
Okay.
So PC and Switch.
You play it on Switch?
I bought it on Switch just so, like, in the event I want to take it somewhere. It's one of those games you could play a quick round and,
Well, my PC should be able to handle that, so maybe I'll look into it. I was just waiting for a PS4 port or something.
I'm sure it'll come eventually. I would assume, like, they'd be just not accepting money if they didn't release, because it's such a well-reviewed game that it would sell really well on PlayStation.
It's nominated for Game of the Year, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was nominated for a bunch of stuff. I'm sure art design it won at least 1 or 2 awards for. So, Brian, what's yours? What did you do this week?
What did I do this week? Well, I'll tell you, I didn't do a whole lot this week. In fact, what I did this week was laid in bed and watched a ton of TV. And I got to be honest, like, you would think you have a whole week to just lay in bed and do nothing. But honestly, it was like in and out of sleep and stuff like that. So I watched stuff that I'd seen 100 times before. I think I've rewatched the entire series of Comic Book Men and shit like that, where it's just like I could just like fall asleep and then wake up whenever and be fine and not feel like I missed something. So I will tell you about a movie that I watched right before this on my mark. It does go, and it's called Better Watch Out. Last time we did a GAMESCAST, I asked everybody. I was asking for movie recommendations in the Christmas vein, right? Because I think we had done the last GAMESCAST on Christmas Eve, and I was looking for horror movies that focused on Christmas, and a lot of people gave us some really good advice. I did watch a few things like Rare Exports. I thought was really good. Thank you guys for recommending that. About basically not kidnapping, whatever, digging up Santa and holding him for ransom. It was any other movie would have done this, and it would have been really campy, but somehow it was really good. After watching that, Amazon recommended Better Watch Out. And Better Watch Out, I thought was going to be horrible. It was like, oh, blah, 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 Christmas, home invasion, that kind of thing. And I was like, oh, this is going to be rough. Like, but I'm just going to turn it on and go to bed. And I stayed up for the entire thing. Better Watch Out. I don't know how I'd never heard of this before. It's only like 4 years old. It is fantastic. It's borders on not being a horror movie. But it's suspenseful enough, interesting enough, and definitely anybody who is looking for a good Christmas horror movie, I think should check it out. It's really shockingly fun to watch.
Well, if it can overcome the flu, I mean, that's saying something.
Yeah, for sure. This was right before I got sick, unfortunately.
I thought it was during. Yeah.
Yeah, everything after that was downhill. All right, you guys, I know we don't want to turn this into the craziest, longest GAMESCAST of all time. Our topic of the week is obviously going to be crazy long, so I think we should probably dive straight into some news. What do you guys think?
All right, so we've only got 3 significant stories. There's a couple other things floating around, but I wanted to, I don't know. The other things were just kind of like meh, so I wanted to have the good news until we get into our main topic of the evening, which is I don't know how many games there are. Every game from 2020 basically rated in a similar fashion to PSVR's Got Talent as we do. I don't know if we're going to do the thumbs up, thumbs down. We're going to talk about them, mostly go through them sort of fast, mention the highlights, the lowlights. But first, we're going to start with what we always start with, besides that one, shouldn't we? And that is any PS5 related news. Like we said before, a couple new cats have been picking up PS5s, letting us know. I'm really happy to see that. And but there is a report. This comes from PlayStation Universe, saying that there was a report from data posted from VG Charts that the PS5 has gained an early lead over the Xbox in terms of worldwide sales, with Sony next generation console reportedly selling 4.19 million units in 6 weeks. This kind of lines up with what we heard at the end of December, which was that in 2020 they sold about 3.4 million units by the end of 2020. And Brian, you made an article. You brought my attention towards an article that was talking about the predictions of how many they plan to sell during 2021.
Yeah. there's been a couple articles with a lot of predictions, but it does seem like Sony is talking about how they plan on shipping 18 million PS5s over the course of 2021. And so when you say how many did they sell already? What was the number estimate?
Reportedly, right now, 4.19 million.
So let's say four. And then, I mean, we're going to assume that they're going to sell pretty much every PlayStation 5 that they ship for the next year. So that's basically 22 million PlayStation 5 sold by the end of 2021, by roughly this time next year. And my favorite thing about that, I mean, first of all, it outpaces PlayStation 4, which I think is amazing. But because that's PlayStation 4 is like one of the best selling consoles of all time. So if you're outselling that, then great. But better than that, I think that this also puts PlayStation 5 in a position to be like ready for PSVR by the end of this year, saying the install base is absolutely big enough. When you get 20 million gamers out there, and a lot of those people are going to be VR gamers. These are the people who want the most cutting edge technology. They want the latest console. These aren't people that are holding out for last gen, waiting for everything to go on sale. I think a majority of PSVR gamers are going to have PS5s by then, and I think that is going to be the perfect time to launch a PSVR 2.
Well, especially with that news that we heard about them switching over the production lines of existing PS4 over to PS5, so they're not going to be manufacturing new PS4s anymore. Right. And I'm sure there's still enough out there for them to sell for a few months or the next year on shelves or in warehouses and stuff. But the fact that they're doing that means that we'll be able to get a lot more PS5s into people's hands over this year, which is going to be a really good thing. So.
Sounds like they've discontinued a portion of the models. Apparently, like the 500 gigabyte model is like one of the few left, and so I imagine they might come out with a. Well, they already have a PS4 Slim, so unless they did like a Super Slim, but yeah, you got to imagine at a $400 price tag, you got to imagine that it's just better off to buy a PS5 at this point because you get a PS4 and a PS5 for $400 if you go for the digital edition, and that's basically the same price. So, yeah, you got to think that Sony is at some point going to feel some of the pressure of wanting to release a PSVR. A second model, a second generation one, with the success that is growing with the Quest, and with a lot of people, every time they post a VR video and they say, "Where's PSVR 2?" I'm pretty sure somebody is noticing that to some degree, and it's just to me, I'm curious to see like when are they going to start feeling the pressure that, hey, maybe we need to start ramping up this. Start getting plans for this ready to launch.
Yeah. I know they talked a lot about why they wouldn't launch a headset alongside of the PlayStation 5, which for common sense reasons, right? Like it's just too much money to ask a consumer to spend all at once. And then the other thing was like, well, the install base isn't there. I think both of these things are going to be rectified by the end of the year. And so I think we'll get a very good position.
Yeah, and I think all they need to do too is this year at some point, I think they just need to have the announcement and the game plan and the roadmap for it. I think if they get that out at some point, anytime this year, I think we'll be in good position for the future.
What's crazy is that this is like one of Sony's biggest strategies for basically reaching the biggest number of gamers ever was always to have like a really super slim model or super cheap model of their previous hardware that would just keep selling and selling. Like, remember the super slim PlayStation 2 that was the size of a DVD case? That sold for years and years and years and years after PlayStation 3 launched, because PlayStation 3 was like this expensive behemoth, and it's like that was just too much for so many gamers. And so to not really have that option this time around, I wonder if they're going to lose out to other consoles that have cheaper options, or if they're actually going to like push people into next gen sooner. I'm really curious to see how that all turns out for them.
In the meantime, too, I think obviously we're going to be getting more games. I think we're going to get more game announcements this year. I'm already aware of a couple things that may or may not happen. But it'd be really interesting if they are. They're going to be pretty big. But I don't know. It all depends on if they're happening. But it seems like, we've got a AAA game, 3 AAA games technically coming out this month. That's kind of a big deal. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get if they kind of in the meantime try to just keep releasing some games for us until the next model.
Yeah. So I want to make sure we get a couple tips here before they get too far past us. Belramio the Game Cat with the €11 donation saying, Swords of Gargantua is still my should we of the week, but my weapons are level 10, so I am maxing out. Is that official, Bell? Do we know that level 10 is the maximum for those? Because my greatsword is level 3 plus 9, and it's going to take me a few more greatswords to jam into that before I hit 10. Let me know if that's the case. Also get Donatello the Scientist Game Cat. It's saysing. Oh yeah, that's the word. For $10, he's saysing. It's 2021. Where's the damn lasers and fireworks? Good to see the boys back together. It's so great to see you guys here with us for sure. So, where are the lasers and fireworks, man? I'm feeling.
I didn't bring any. I have a laser pointer that Carlos likes, but it's just red. I don't know if
I got one of those too. I wonder what happens if you shine it directly at the camera.
I thought about that.
Lasers
probably
and
just
fireworks,
looks like
possibly.
it probably just blows out the screen.
Probably.
Blinds everybody on the other side.
I can get Tornado in here. I mean, she's way more entertaining than the 3 of us. I guarantee it.
Yeah, where did Carlos go? I guess he's not here either.
All right, guys. So that's it's exciting news. It's exciting to see. Every generation they say, "Oh, this is going to be the last console generation." But if consoles keep selling this well, then I highly doubt we're even close to the last console generation. People love consoles, man. No need for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in other news, Limited Run Games has announced a new physical edition for something coming out tomorrow at 10 a.m. At 6 p.m. Eastern. Okay,
It's
10 a.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern time. So let's break down each time zone. If it's 10 a.m. Eastern, then no, I'm just kidding. He's like, I saw him like, no, what is he doing? But it's Paper Beast. Paper Beast will get a limited run edition starting tomorrow. Physical comes with looks like it has like some artwork stuff with it. Maybe, possibly.
I'm looking at the collector's edition now because I'm always curious what they got.
It's collector's edition.
Let me go to the collector's edition.
They have a whole lot. The collector's isn't really that much stuff. It says 2 reversible art cards, enamel pin, sticker sheet, and original soundtrack. So usually they'll have something a little more fun than that, like Goofy or whatever. But I guess it's not really.
Only 500 copies available though for the collector's edition.
I just saw that.
Is that like a low amount?
Yeah, I mean
500 in the whole world. Yeah, that's pretty low.
Yeah, anything under 1,200 tends to be like pretty tough to get, and it ends up going up in price pretty quickly. 500 is just almost unheard of these days, especially for limited run.
Yeah.
That's tended to say we're just going to do open pre-orders for the next month, and then however many we sell is the number we sell. And I'm like, that just kind of cheapens the whole experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
I've stopped completely though.
Donatello the Scientist Game Cat says, "Will the physical release make the game less boring?"
I don't know, but I would say, as far as Brian's talking about, like going up in price, like if you're one of those collectors or whatever. I mean, the fact that this is 500 copies of a game made by the dude who made Another World.
Yeah.
I mean, some collector out there in a few years is going to want to get their hands on this thing, and you'll have one sitting on your shelf and be like, "Yeah, it's $6,000, loser." And then
This wasn't
rich all of a sudden.
This was another game I played Saturday night. Shout out to Elvert who requested it. And I showed off the sandbox portion of it, and basically just was like, creating these different scenes, messing with the special effects. And I really think this game does have some value, does have some stuff that it makes for a cool experience. I think it also has like some frustrating game design, but like through the campaign part. But the physics and the presentation of the sandbox mode are really fun to mess around with. So if you are one of those people that like a sandbox mode, and can mess around for hours, just playing, tinkering with different things. Really some cool stuff on display that you can actually go check out if you want to. That I showed off. I think there's some cool. There's some things that I really like about this game, even though it's not like everybody needs this kind of deal.
Yeah. Keep in mind that if you are interested in this, there's not just the $65 500 copy limited edition one. Mm-hmm. There's the regular edition, which is 2,000 copies, which is still fairly low as far as print runs go, for $40, which is a little high for this game, but they usually that's the pricing structure they usually follow. It's whatever the digital version is plus 10. So nothing crazy. We've talked about this game ad nauseum. I think everyone knows our feelings on it. If you're going to buy it, 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. they divide all the lot into half, and so the first one 10 a.m. will sell out really quickly, and then 6 p.m. will sell out less quickly.
Well, it's on the list for tonight, so I guess we'll go more into depth about it.
Oh, I mean,
perfect.
I totally forgot.
I guess we can skip that one when it rolls around.
So finally, today we got a brand new trailer, finally showing off some good chunks of VR gameplay from Hitman 3. Like I said before, we're likely going to go do a deep dive on the first two games and everything, and the third game next week. I think that's going to be kind of like our main event for the evening. But still, nonetheless, this trailer presented us with some new looking gameplay, and curious to hear you guys' thoughts on it.
I think it looks great. I mean, the amount of interactions you have, so I just started playing Hitman 2 a little bit, and I'm having a great time with it. And I just love the amount of options you've got available to you. And it looks like this has just as many as I had in Hitman 2, flat screen, in terms of like ways to approach a situation and fun ways to take out enemies. But the other thing is the environments, these locales just look gorgeous. And with all the people walking around, I'm like, how did they pull this off on a PS4?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even seem feasible. But I don't know, maybe it'll be really blurry on the OG or something. I have to assume it might be. But it looks incredible. I mean, it's got those sort of globe-trotting, like 007 kind of John Wick, like really cool looking fancy environments. So yeah, that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, this has been an interesting trailer to watch today and see people kind of talk about it a little bit online. Seeing people saying, "Oh, it looks like they added move support."
I don't think they did.
I know it definitely does not look like they did. This is going to have tracking, but they've already said it's basically a combination of the way the DualShock 4 works and the light tracking and all that stuff combined. And so I would expect that most of what you're seeing here is from light tracking of the DualShock 4, which, a
little bit of animation tacked on. I think they add a little bit something to make it look natural.
Yeah.
Because some of it does look more natural than you could get with light bar tracking, I think.
I would be
a little bit.
I would be shocked if they didn't remove some button prompts from this trailer. If it wasn't.
Oh yeah, there are button prompts in there.
The whole thing starts off with like the dude scrubbing the table, right? And there's part of me that was just like you walk up and you hit X and your dude just starts scrubbing the table and your hands moving without your.
It's like blend in is what
that's probably
usually
what
there
it
is.
Yeah.
So that's generally what I think is really going on here. I'm sure for like aiming and that kind of stuff, it's like it's going to be more interaction. But I think you're going to see a lot of your arms and hands doing things that you have no control over whatsoever. It does. I 100% agree, though. It looks stunning. This is sort of. It looks almost Blood and Truth quality. Some of these inside environments, and because a lot of the environments do look pretty barren, but they look really good. And then of course but they're populated with so many people that it's like it is mind-boggling. This is like how is this even happening?
So let me add that some of this footage that I've seen here is. I see a lot of footage from the first game, and graphically, there's a huge difference graphically from the first game just to the second game. So the third game should likely look even better. But yeah, the first one, even though it still looks fantastic, you could kind of consider it looking a little bit more like early PS4 versus later stage PS4, which, as you know, there was a huge difference. So Yeah. Well, I've got, again, we'll go into next week more deep dive on it. I did some previews on this, a preview with some gameplay, just playing the flat version. Really appreciate everybody that was like supportive of that. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, I've got reasons to be very, very, very optimistic, and I have just two concerns, and really the two concerns are, like you stated, the graphics being so detailed that it ends up being a little bit blurry, and the DualShock stuff. If it's not implemented well, it seems like there's a pretty small team that is working on this, but nonetheless, it is a fantastic game of what I've been playing. I've got like 15 hours, 16 hours in the first one, just about beating it. And there's a lot of depth to it. Dude, people just love, I mean, people want AAA games. So this is a perfect example of, us getting another AAA game, which is awesome.
Yeah. A bunch of things we want to make sure you guys remember, though. Like leading up to launch. The launch is on the 20th. Is that right?
20th. Yeah, I think it's the same day Biden comes in, right? Isn't that the same day, the 20th?
Yes.
Yep.
So exciting day all around. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so yeah, hopefully the news will be about everything going smoothly on both sides of things here. And
I can't play Hitman 3. I have to watch the second Capitol riot. Damn it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Hopefully everything goes smoothly so we can just enjoy the game and go, hey, we have a new president and we got a new game. So there's but there's also a sale going on currently on the Hitman 1 and 2 on the PlayStation Store. And so if you are interested in getting the most out of Hitman 3, then you're going to want to pick up the Game of the Year editions for both of those, which are currently on sale for, ridiculously cheap, like about $10 each, I think was what it ended up being.
No, one is $11.99, which is super cheap, and then two is $19.99 or free with PS Now.
There was a crazy deal. I got two for like $8.
Yeah, something. I got it last time,
and I think it came with all the DLC because when I installed it to play through it a little bit before the show today, when I saw that trailer, it installed like 7 DLC things just like by itself. So I guess I have that too.
Right. So all the stages from Hitman 1 and Hitman 2 are going to be able to be imported into Hitman 3 and playable in VR. And so that's what AJ was saying, is basically we're getting 3 AAA games in VR all on the same day. So, if you want to get the most out of Hitman 3, that's what you're going to want to do.
The only question I have, and this is a little bit of a gray area that they haven't specified, and until I played Hitman, I didn't know to question this. But so the trailer says sandbox VR sandbox or something, right? It specifically has the word sandbox in it. And the way that Hitman works is like, AJ, you said there's like a ton of different ways to approach stuff, but when you're in a level, you don't have to do a specific thing all the time. There's like multiple options.
Every level is a sandbox, yes.
Yeah, it's a sandbox. And I wonder if like we'll get all the missions from the existing Hitman games, or if you get a VR kind of, sandboxy mode where there's stuff to do, but it's not exactly like the full campaign. Like, have they said it's the campaign or just the levels? You can play every level.
I watched an interview, and I watched an interview with, I think it was, I want to say Game Informer and somebody from IO Interactive. And like when asked, he made it sound like it was the whole thing, all 3 games. Like he was like, yes, it was the entire games. He said something like that. So I tend to think that, it has the targets. I don't think they're going to put you into these levels without the targets. That would be really weird. But again, that's something that's still honestly, the messaging around this has not been very good. I don't know if because they're trying to do like exclusive deals with Game Informer and other places that they're not being very transparent because they want to let them get the inside info. But really, it's kind of problematic because it's like we just want to know what we're getting and how to get it. And just simple things that we should know they're making it really tough to understand. But
one thing they have been clear about, sorry to interrupt, because I saw some confusion in the chat earlier. There's if you buy the PlayStation 5 version of Hitman, they have confirmed this already. You also get the PlayStation 4 version. So if you're worried about which version to pre-order, don't worry. You will get the PlayStation 4 VR version if you purchase the PlayStation 5 version. That was confirmed about a month ago. So for anyone confused, don't be confused anymore.
I have to agree with Peepo the Pig here, who says he said the entire trilogy in VR. Yeah, so I'm pretty confident that it's because it's all designed the same, like in many ways. It's not this linear like story driven thing. It's here's a level, here's a contract to take out, and some of the levels do have some objectives and stuff like that, which are pretty cool. But I think they can implement it pretty well, and I think it's going to be this VR mode that they've created. I think they've just used that as the basis for like the next all the previous levels, but sounds like the entire trilogy and stuff. And it's yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. They've just been weird. They have been weird about things, and like we don't want to start saying anything that's not confirmed. And
Right.
That's why we're being a little bit cautious about this.
Yeah.
Real quick, I want to make sure we give a shout out to Bel Ramio, the Game Cat, with the €550 saying buy paper, Lauren Origami, better value proposition. This is in response to the limited run Paper Beast conversation. Not everyone loves that game. We don't blame you if you do. We don't blame you if you don't. We also got Arlen Teodori from my former employer. We both worked at the same restaurant, man. Yeah, with the $5 donation. Thank you so much, Arlen. Arlen should just be on the show one week. I guarantee he knows nothing about PSVR, but he will just troll everybody the entire time.
I remember them talking about the game not using the DualShock, or not using the light bar tracking, using the gyros in the thing.
That would work.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see how that works, because you see clearly in this footage that he's swinging the arm and stuff. And, if you were to cock back your arm using the DualShock like this, that immediately puts the light tracking out of sight because you're turning the controller left. That's why the moves work so much better for tracking, because it can, no matter where your arm is facing, it can see it. So if they did find some alternative method for this, it could be pretty cool as long as it works well and is responsive. But I'm super excited for this. I'm pretty optimistic. I'm going to be definitely driving the hype train. But if you're unsure, wait for our reviews. Because there is, just because I'm super excited about it doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect. It's going to be amazing. I just think it's going to be really, really fun and really good. And yeah, but it's okay to be cautiously optimistic about this one and wait.
There's no pre-order bonus, right?
I think there is pre-order. There's two versions to pre-order. This is the conversation we're going to be having next week. Basically, Brian and Dave, I believe, are going to be playing
lots of Hitman
throughout the next week.
Yes.
And basically, we'll be telling you next week whether or not we believe that you should buy them all together now before the 20th, because if you do, you could potentially save a lot of money. Having the 3 being discounted, 2 being discounted, 1 being discounted, all 3 of them, and you could basically get 3 AAA PSVR games for probably a pretty good deal. So that's the discussion we're going to have next week and kind of figure out. But I'm sure there's a couple pre-order bonuses. There usually is.
Well, can always wait until the very last second to pre-order. That's for sure. So
if you pre-order from GameStop,
hold the line.
Bald cap.
Hold the line. Nick Milo is against pre-orders though, so he won't be pre-ordering it.
Understandable. Anything in this new trailer jump out at you guys before we move on?
Yeah, all of it was exciting looking to me. I really, once again, just the locales. Like, I love the way these things look. The Japan stage looks really cool. I don't know, the aquarium looked really fun. And all those areas with like the parties and people milling about, that's going to be really cool, I think, in VR. So I'm excited to just wander around and sneak up on people, give them the old.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to wait and see. A lot, like I said, a lot of these were from the Dave. You've been playing Hitman 2, right?
Yeah, that's the only one I've played.
That one looks, like I said, looks a lot better than the first one. The first one still looks great.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Good looking game.
Yeah, really. But that was the first one that I was like, wow. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I don't know. This is such a different approach. You know, I hate to say it, but a lot of the times AAA developers are the ones that usually botch VR modes and stuff. But that's not every
VR
developer.
mode though either, you know.
Yeah, but it is a smaller team. This isn't a large dedicated team to doing this extensive VR port. It's going to most likely be very much a like just basic ported over with the minimal VR features. I mean, even stuff like wearing the suit in the Sapienza in the trailer right here, the biohazard suit. Like I don't know if he's wearing it or not. I thought he was wearing it, but it might not even like have like the mask, like when you put on the mask and stuff, if it actually sees it.
My assumption was he was killing that guy to take his outfit. Although if
he was leaving.
Oh, okay.
He was leaving the contaminated area, so I'd have to see if when it shows his arm. Show it. Come on, I'm waiting to see it. When it shows his arm, if he's got like an orange suit on his arm, then we'll know. But you know, I was just kind of like excited to when you put different outfits on to actually like feel their presence or see their presence a little bit. And it didn't seem so. There, I do see full body IK though, or not full body IK, but I do see a full body, which is good.
Yeah, everybody's saying. Sorry, everyone's saying my mic is quiet. I just tried turning it up, but Brian, do you see anything on your end to indicate
you sound louder now that you turned it up?
The other thing is I redid my whole desk setup here, and usually the mic was on my right side, so I keep turning this way to talk into the mic because it's just a force of habit, and it's on the opposite side. So I'm probably talking away from the mic most of the time. That might be it.
Gotcha. But yeah, overall, I'm just super stoked, man. And definitely don't see he was wearing the suit, and they didn't like port like the actual mask over you. So I don't know. There's going to be little things. Like I said, it's going to be a minimalist kind of port, but it should still make for an exceptional game and experience overall because it's super immersive as is, even just flat. So I'm excited to jump in VR.
This trailer is the second time we've seen your character walk up to somebody, tap him on the shoulder, have him look the wrong way, and then like just attack him. This is I mean I just feel like I'm gonna do that constantly, nonstop. I'm gonna like every single character I walked up to, I'm gonna be like tap him on one shoulder, walk to the other side, and then like hit him over the head with a crowbar.
That's not something you can do on the flat version.
Mm-mm.
And that's really strange. So I wonder if that's like a new mechanic for Hitman 3 that just kind of won't be reverse engineered into the older games.
Well, I don't think honestly I would be surprised if you couldn't use it in the previous games in VR, but that you could use it in the flat game. That sounds to me like a VR only mechanic. Just because having played a little bit of it, I can't envision a Hitman third person scenario in which that would make sense or look good, or like in third person you're the same size as the guy, you walk up behind him. I don't know, it just doesn't have the same thing as tapping a guy on the back when you're actually there behind him. I don't know, I think it would be silly in third person, so I think it might just be a VR only mechanic. We'll see.
We'll find out.
I think so too.
That'd be really interesting to find out that there's ways to take down enemies in VR that don't apply to the non-VR version. That would be crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think they might be vice versa too. Like, I don't know, there might be some things you can do in one and not the other. Stuff that you can do in flat that you can't do in VR, and stuff that you can do in VR, vice versa.
All right, you guys. I think that about does it for our Hitman 3 conversation this week. Does that end the news? I'm all over the place right now.
That is all the news for now. We are going to break out the main topic of the show, which is, take it away, Brian.
Oh, I want some air horns. 2020.
Yeah, we need cooler transitions on this show for sure.
Yeah.
Somebody's notification was sound effect that worked.
It wasn't an air horn, but that's what you get. 2021.
Yeah. I mean, this is the initial idea was to do this last week, on New Year's Eve, and to celebrate 2020 and send it out in style, and but to also remind everybody what 2020 was all about, to kind of go through the year and just sort of remember, like, I mean, each month sort of had a different feeling, and I think if we go through what happened last year, game by game, date by date, I think we're gonna kind of like relive that together. We don't need to go super in depth for a lot of these games because they are certainly games that we've talked again ad nauseum about. So let's not, just like waste a ton of time and talk about games we've gone over and over and over about.
For sure. I think there's going to be some that we definitely disagree on. I know for a fact there's going to be some that we disagree on, so this should be interesting. And I think those are the ones that we typically go a little bit more in depth.
Yeah.
And again, apologies to you two and to everyone, because there's likely some games I'm going to trash that you like.
Well, that's going to be all right. We're gonna have to deal with it. So, when Dave gets
first
back here,
we have K-Panic K-Panic, the graphically dynamic game cat.
I like it.
He got a dynamic resolution upgrade. It says finally a 2020 review we don't want to forget. Exactly. This was PSVR was literally the only good thing I can think of that happened.
Video games in general, for sure.
Video games in general were
I have to ask,
freaking awesome.
I have to ask, if K-Panic is the graphically dynamic game cat, does that make him the man of our dreams? Capital D, get it? It's got dynamic resolution, guys.
I mean, I guess we could just stop the show now. We don't.
I could just stay gone.
Thank you,
Somebody out there groaned on my behalf. You guys just gave me dead silence. Give me a groan at least.
I mean,
or maybe it went over your heads. Probably went over your head. I guess.
I think our look said it all.
All right, so January 9th, starting with, let's get this thing going. January 9th, 2020, we had the very first PSVR game.
Oh my God.
And it was Space Ribbon, Slipstream to the Extreme.
I mean, can we just talk about what a fucking terrible start to the year this was? This was like I'm pretty sure that just like the end of 2020, there was a big span of time. It was like, almost all of December we don't get a new game, and then first week of January goes by, no game, and it's like we're just like over a month without anything, and the first offering we get, with like no fanfare whatsoever. We've never heard of this piece of crap before, and it gets shit out onto the PlayStation Store. I mean, this is why every year starts off on a low note, because this is the kind of stuff we get right away. And fucking terrible, man. So it's not even a good racing game. It's a racing game, and like, we don't have enough of these things, and we didn't even get a good one.
I honestly, this has been scrubbed from my brain. So much happened in 2020 that I played this, I'm sure, but there's a big hole in my brain.
I didn't realize anybody else played it.
I don't
know.
I wanted to like this game.
I know.
I wanted to like this game.
I know. I talked to you all week, and you were on this roller coaster ride of no, I think it's kind of good, and I'm like, no, I think you're kind of crazy.
I don't think I said that. But I know I wanted to like this game. It was just, it was so bad, and it just gets worse. It should have been first person. If it was first person, I would think it was awesome.
If it had first person,
for a $5 game.
That's because we need more racing games. That's not because it's a good game.
Right.
Probably true.
Yeah, this was like procedurally generated and stuff. Like they didn't even design tracks. It was just like, I mean, I hated everything about this. I didn't like the physics. Yeah, horrible way to kick off the year. Way to kick off the year. And so, but luckily we only had less than a week to wait until we got Eclipse Edge of Light from White Elk. And I mean, really, like not a bad effort, right?
No, I mean, it's one of those ones, it's one of those ones that came from the mobile ecosystem. It had been around for a few years. It was like a Oculus Go and I think maybe Daydream or something. And so, it wasn't the freshest thing in the world, but the port was good. And, it was a decently atmospheric kind of not the worst thing in the world.
It's okay. Came out January 14th, just a couple days later. January 14th, Eclipse Edge of Light by White Elk Studios. People that worked on the God of War games originally, then helped create this. I remember Upload VR had a review for this game or something, and it was like the best looking Google Daydream game or something like that. And I liked little things about this game, but it was like 2 hours long and not very challenging, not very deep in any way. It was just, I always described it as like a serene sci-fi kind of just short experience.
Yeah, I mean, there was a period of those mobile games where like the controllers were really limited, the hardware was really limited. So like the best you could get was like a nice walk somewhere, which it is a nice walk. I mean, it's a pretty nice walk.
You get jetpacks, man. You get a jetpack.
Yeah.
So immediately better than most games. No, but it was, the fact is this was one of those games that had DualShock 4 support only at launch. And half of the game has you throwing like this orb everywhere.
Yeah.
And so like it didn't feel good to do that. It's accurate and everything because you're just hitting a button. And they did patch in move support later. And the move support, not the greatest move support, but at least you get a good feel for throwing that orb. Definitely a better way to play.
Oh, and you got to respect a dev who will go in and patch a totally, like unique control input into a game that's been out for this many years, to go back and be like, okay, yeah, we'll retool it for your specific platform since you asked. Like, good looking out.
Yeah.
I want to grab this tip real quick from the man of our dreams, K-Panic, the graphically dynamic game cat, $1.99 tip. And he says, Space Ribbon, the COVID-19 of PSVR. I'm going to dispute that for two reasons. It came out a little earlier than COVID did, at least in the US. But then second of all, it did not spread anywhere. It's like if two guys had gotten COVID and they were like, wow, that really sucked. And then no one else had ever heard of it. That would be what Space Ribbon is as far as a disease goes,
Yeah, very accurate.
No, yeah, it's good. It's good that it wasn't the COVID of 2019 or COVID of 2020 because it
just starts showing up on your console and like you can't play anything else. And like for 2 weeks, you only can play Space Ribbon.
So yeah, good thing we put that thing to bed pretty fucking quickly. So only less than a week after Eclipse Edge of Light, we followed that up with one of the first great games of the year, and that was Shadow Legend VR by Vitruvius VR on January 20th. Not a lot to say about it because we all love it, man. It won 2 awards at the PlayStation VR Award Show. You guys love it too, then.
Completely redeemed my view of Vitruvius games after Mervils. That's for sure. Yes.
Close-minded motherfuckers.
I have to say the one thing that we've said before, but is worth saying now if you don't know much about this game, it is VR as fuck. You can interact with everything. You can climb on stuff. You can go wherever you see. It's like, hey, I want to grab that wall and see if there's some doubloons up on that little rafter up there. Climb your ass up there and grab the coins. Like, it's pretty cool, and it gets you in the mindset of looting, which is not something I do often in VR games. And so that kind of makes you stop and appreciate the environments and exploration and all that stuff. Like, you move a little bit more slowly through the game because you're like, ooh, where can I find some gold goblets to sell and stuff like that. So,
yeah. This is one that we heard so much about from our PC friends, saying, it's really, really short and blah, 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 whatever. But it's really good. But I don't think anybody really prepares for how good it was. And of course, when it launched on PlayStation VR, it launched with more levels, which of course were brought to the PC version after that. And so like, I think we just had an amazing first experience on PlayStation VR that probably far exceeded the PC, player's experience. Because as much as we love when shit gets added to games or additional levels get thrown in or whatever, when it's after the fact, it loses something. You want to play it from start to finish as like this big cohesive experience. And so I think we ended up getting the best deal there. AJ, we know you're anti-Marvels. Right.
It's a private conversation I'm having.
Wait, you had to type that right in the chat as if nobody knew that?
Trying to keep an eye on the chat, and I see AJ.
This is my conversation with them. You keep talking to the camera.
Okay.
I'll talk to the camera. Marvels is fucking great. Shout out to K-Panic, the graphically dynamic game cap, with the $3 donation saying VRAF, VR as fuck. Webster's word of 2020. VRAF. I like it.
And they didn't even credit us with it. Not cool.
So the
get a phone call from fucking Webster.
But yeah, Shadow Legend, it was originally like 2 hours on PC, and I think it was like way too short for being 2 hours. But they did add like another 2 hours, and made it 4 hours long. Yes, that is one of the drawbacks. Is it is short, but it is immersive. It is fun. The only thing I think that could have been really better is like the combat. It's a little janky, but it still works mostly. But it's just a beautiful. It's a beautiful game. Amazing art design and stuff, and a great fantasy world, and it's really fun.
Dude, what's funny is that we thought the combat was pretty good when it came out, but then we got so many more sword fighting games over the course of the year where we're like, oh, well, now it's in perspective. Like,
I think, I think
there's still satisfying stuff about it, but as far as the tactile, like realistic feel of stuff, like Swordsman and Until You Fall, and even Gargantua to some degree, although not really Gargantua. Gargantua is like wow a lot of the time, right. But. Maybe that's because I was using nunchucks. I will say maybe that's because I was using nunchucks.
I sort of disagree about that, Brian, because we had Golem, and Golem to me was like the combat felt really weighty, really good and stuff. So this one, I was just really happy that it was another sword fighter thing. I really liked the crossbow in this. I liked all the weapons. That like God of War kind of throwing axe that was in this badass weapon. This game I think my favorite thing about this game, in terms of immersiveness and interaction, was definitely like flipping the stakes, the little things they planted around for you to intentionally mess with. Like kind of shows, like Dave always says, something that could only be demonstrated in VR, and that is flipping the stakes, playing with the dogs, feeding the horses carrots, stuff like that was my favorite part. But besides that, I think the environments were another one of my favorite things. The environments were pretty stunning at times.
Yeah, I think really the test for VR games moving forward into 2021 is, can you feed the horse? Everybody knows, can you pet the dog? Can you feed the horse? Because if not, go back to the drawing board.
My test has let me climb on everything, and this game succeeded at that. Like every single stage, it was like, that looks like I could climb on it. It's like, yep, you totally can. And that was actually the solution to a lot of puzzles. It gave you further, things to find every time you did, like other places to discover with like more loot to find. I mean, it was such a rewarding game. Everything you tried usually was successful and like was also rewarding. So really love that. But then we followed that up the next week, guys, January 27th. And this is why the beginning of the year, like, Shadow Legend was obviously a standout title, but then it was followed up with Vigilante Ranger on the 27th by Synergia Studios. And I remember AJ being like just fucking angry. Right, and we were all upset that like this is a game that we're getting. It's like this is how we're like bringing in the new year. Everybody was kind of pissed off, I think, at this point. You guys, do you remember this one?
Didn't at some point I don't remember much about it, but it's like a driving game, right? So it was a motorcycle game.
Tower defense. Game.
No.
It's a tower defense wave shooter.
Oh, that's the other Vigilante game. See, because what I remember is that people said every Vigilante game is bad and every Apocalypse game is bad.
Vigilante 8 was great. That was like a Twisted Metal kind of game.
In VR. Okay. No, I love Vigilante 8, by the way. Totally love that game. But yeah, so this was not that one. Yeah, I guess I don't remember it.
Wow, you were
literally it puts you in a point. And there's like these robots slowly walking towards your base that you have to defend, and you just sit there and shoot them, and that's it. They're just slowly walking. You're just sitting there pointing and shooting at them. And I don't even know how I got as far as I did into this game. It's my lowest rated game. It was my number 2 worst ranked game of 2020. It's a piece of shit, and it's so bad. And I think wave shooters and tower defense might possibly be like the worst translated to VR games I've played. I think both of those combine for something really awful. You have to get really creative or make a really good game.
I think as you were talking about it, I kind of remembered the game, and no, it's not good.
Yeah, this one was just horribly done. I feel like you could make very easily make a tower defense game. I mean, I would venture to say we put Final Assault into that category, right? I mean, that is absolutely tower defense. And so,
I would consider that more like a real-time strategy.
sure, but but this is also a wave shooter slash tower defense game. I would say we could easily throw into both categories. And
tower defense, maybe, yeah.
And this was and this was just so poorly done in every possible way. I remember if my Move controller, I guess, or my DualShock 4, whatever this thing's fucking supported. I remember having it was like way off to the side. It wasn't even 1-to-1 with what was happening on the screen. There was like 6 feet between me and what was going on in the screen. Everything was gesture based. So like if you accidentally, when you're jumping from turret to turret, if you accidentally look at another turret for a second, boom, it transports you over to that turret. Even if you're like, sitting there trying to shoot the guys that are coming at you, you can accidentally teleport to another turret.
Incredibly frustrating.
Right? Yeah. I was like, how about you give me a button, man? I've got a controller in my hands. Like, let me use the other controller and teleport around. It's anything. This was just so haphazardly done. It was such a waste of time, such a waste of money. I mean, just a horrible, horrible way to start the year off.
It's pretty rough. I remember doing the review on this. I really chose a bad time to start doing reviews. Like to jump out and start with like Vigilante Ranger and Space Ribbon. It's like, fuck, like, man, I was too late to start reviews, but yeah, I remember, I think it was actually Professor Lilith who just joined us. Hello, Lilith. But I remember her commenting on my review saying, tell us how you really feel. Jeez. Cause I'm just like, this game is horrible. I'm like, it's not good on sale. Like, don't pay anything for this. And, cause I was all optimistic about 2020 PSVR games, and which we eventually did get some greatness, but it took a while.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next game.
Was it greatness yet? Was the next game greatness?
Definitely not. Because February 6th by Visual Light Studios, we had Throw Anything. Also one of my top 10 worst games of 2020.
So nobody send me anything, but February 6th is my birthday. Just so you know.
Happy birthday.
And it was last year too. Funny enough.
You're the king of dad jokes on this show.
Yeah, no, sorry. No, this one was pretty fun, though. I really did enjoy this at the time. Like, no, it's not Hotel R&R. I don't like it. Take it back.
What are you
saying? Okay. There's too many games this year.
I enjoyed this game, but it launched, for whatever reason, without turn buttons or a 180 flip button. And this was a game that 100% all the time relied on you turning around, blocking the moves from the camera, and grabbing stuff from the room to throw it down at the zombies that are climbing up the side of the building. It's like you designed a game around the worst part of PlayStation VR. The one thing that it really doesn't do, you managed to create a game that really exploited how poorly it does that. Without giving us any workaround, without any turn buttons, without any 180 flip button. It was almost unplayable at launch. You get through a couple levels and then it was just like irritating as hell. Your hands would start floating away when you're trying to grab something because the camera couldn't see the move controller. It was just a bad idea.
Couldn't you like roll it down the edge and kind of knock them off that way? That's what I
absolutely
ended up doing most of the time. I wasn't really throwing a whole lot. I was just dropping everything.
Yeah.
It became drop everything. But
it was very much drop.
It was drop. Yeah. I think this, it was almost good. It was almost decent, I should say. I really wanted another one where it's like I wanted to like, but then it was just like, bleh.
Well, and it's one of those ones too, like in the wake of, I mean, it didn't come in the wake of, but having gotten Hotel R&R later, there's really no reason to play Throw Anything. I mean, it's not the same game by any means, but like it's got similar vibes to me, similar mechanics in some ways, and like, I don't know, that one's just way better.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to trash stuff and throw it out of the window.
I forgot to mention I was never able to beat this game because it just blue screened over and over.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
No. Jeremy and I actually did a re-review of this game, a Why We Love episode, where we both actually really enjoyed it. And we were like, because at that point they had patched in the ability to turn and we weren't getting any crashes. And so we both really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, it's still really overpriced and really short. So they need to add like literally 30 more levels before it's worth the price point. So take that however you want to, but at least they fixed the turn button thing. Shout out to Professor Lilith with the $5 donation. Thank you very much. Saying Happy New Year and may Hitman 3 be awesome.
Yes. Unlike last year, we have a AAA game coming in January, which I think is also a first. I don't think we've ever had. aside from 2017, that's the only time that's a little bit fuzzy.
It's been a while.
January 2017, but
someday
2018 there was nothing. 2019 there was Ace Combat 7, which was limited, and then last year we had, just Shadow Legend pretty much.
I feel like we got to get like an Excel spreadsheet going where like it's got every game when it was released, and we can just easily have it in the background on every show and just pull up like, hey, what came out in January of 2019?
Right.
Like, because I can't remember that off the top of my head, but if we had all that in a spreadsheet, it'd be pretty damn easy to just like know what we're talking about.
Reference.
Instead of grasping in the dark for the right answers.
Oh boy. Well, things get a little bit more exciting here because February 12th, we get Darkness Roller Coaster.
Oh, God.
By Creative VR 3D.
Did you say things get a little brighter here?
I said things. I don't know what I said.
I think did he?
I think I said
Chad,
better.
check me. Oh, I thought you said brighter, because if you did, and then you went to Darkness Roller Coaster, that would have been a great setup.
Well, in my defense, it is better than Throw Anything, despite Brian, you guys might disagree, but
I mean, in terms of games that required patches to fix, I think Darkness Roller Coaster took way more patches.
Every single week,
like 90 patches.
It was like
every single week.
It's like 3 or 4 times a week. Yeah,
wasn't it? It was like almost every day this game was getting patched.
Yep.
But this game was not very good. This game was completely broken. I did an 800 sub special like a long time ago, and because I got the European version early, and the special was the most broken game I've ever played. And I'm playing this game and the graphics are like flashing in and out, like the environments are disappearing and reappearing really fast. It goes down to like 2 frames a second. Nice. It was awful. So at least they kind of got it fixed, but it's still a janky roller coaster game, and nothing will ever be as good as we were kind of hoping this was going to be a Until Dawn Rush of Blood light, this was just
like a cartoony kind of spooky jump scare mansion version of Rush of Blood kind of thing, which would have been great. We would have had a great time with that. And but
we should talk to the Spookies jump scare guys about making a roller coaster game, because that would be really fun. I think they're done. Like the little pop outs, you could shoot them with your little, it'd be like a popper. Yeah. It wouldn't be like a real pistol or anything. It'd be like, fun kid stuff. But
those guys have actually said we're moving on from Spookies. We are done with Spookies.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It's crazy. They are done with Spookies.
Yeah, they did a bunch with it anyways. Might as well.
Yeah. So what I didn't put into this list of games that came out this year or this past year was the multiple other ways that Creative 3D VR tried to screw us over by re-releasing this game 2 more times over the course of this year as Darkness Roller Coaster Anniversary Edition, which was the exact same game but included a soundtrack, and then again.
And what was it the anniversary of? It hadn't been out a year.
It hadn't been out a year.
Clearly, yeah. So what's this has been out 3.5 months. It's an anniversary.
and then they tried to sell it one more time as a Kimbo edition, where they gave you the option to shoot with your left hand. So something
that's a patch. That's a DLC. That's not a. I mean, that's not a whole
that is
edition.
A patch. It's the exact same game, but they allowed you to switch hands. That is something that should have been an option from the get-go. And if it's not included in your current version, then I mean, it's just, and you can in the store lets you buy Anniversary Edition if you already own the original. It lets you buy a Kimbo. You could technically accidentally buy this game thinking that it's a sequel or an update or something cool, like a director's cut, when it's really gonna have not at all.
Physical release 3-pack box set edition, Darkness Roller Coaster, all 3 editions. Each on their own bits.
Mr. Sonic says, remember, don't compare Darkness Roller Coaster to Until Dawn Rush of Blood.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. The developers get so mad. I've never seen a developer freak out as much as these guys did when we reviewed the game poorly, and they just left negative comment after negative comment after negative comment, responding to everybody.
People,
Dude, they were using alternate accounts and backing up their claims and stuff. Like,
really?
I've never been more embarrassed for a developer than I've ever been for these guys. I'm just like, guys, I emailed them and said, just delete it, man. Just delete it because you're embarrassing yourself right now. It's horrible.
That is ridiculous.
God, this was such a dark time. I remember telling you back in December of 2019, I was like, dude, we've got a stretch that we're gonna have to deal with soon. And this was part of that stretch. Things get better, guys. Bear with us. Things do get better,
but not quite yet.
Not yet, because February 20th, Bullet Sorrow VR by Viking VR Studios came out. I didn't even play this one.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I don't think I did either. Actually,
I think I have your Australian account, but I never actually got around to playing it.
Yeah, I don't. I remember paying way too much for this game. I forget how much it actually launched for in the store, but I bought it from the Australian store, which always gets games about 12 hours early or so, just so I could get a jump on it. I could play it for you guys and review it as soon as possible. And holy crap, man! This was yet another huge disappointment. Trailers for the PC version showed multiplayer and what seemed like some pretty cool first-person shooting action, and this was all teleportation and uses like bullet time and stuff like that. But it was just so bare bones and so boring and just glitchy and just not fun. Just horrible enemy AI, terrible graphics, blurry as hell. You name it. This was here, and I want to say it was like $30 or $40, like something insane.
It was ridiculous.
Jesus Christ!
It was fun to watch you play. It was fun to watch you play, like,
I remember the zombie mode,
like 10 minutes of each level, and then after 10 minutes of each level, it was just like, oh.
There was a zombie mode that went on literally forever. Like, I think I played the zombie mode for an hour. Nothing had changed at all. I was just killing more zombies. Like, what is happening here? Like, is this just an endless mode that like doesn't have any scoring system or any reason to continue? It was just madness. Just absolute madness.
So I don't know what's wrong with me tonight, but I have to say they should have called it Wallet Sorrow instead of Bullet Sorrow.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm checking to see how much it costs. Oh, you know what? It's I would say appropriately priced now at $20.
What was it before, like 40? Or?
I think I paid like 40 on the Australian store, but yeah, I feel like when it launched in the
said the same thing I said. That's funny.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I said that in
so many dad jokes going on.
The delay is off that we both like simultaneously dad joked in the chat and then on the stream.
So this was again
looking at pretty tangent.
Here we are getting near the end of February 20th, when Bullet Sorrow came out, and still just like we've got Shadow Legend, and but like totally mixed in with just garbage after garbage after garbage, and it was just like such a. I remember being really, really disappointed last year around this time when Bullet Sorrow came out, just being like, I don't know, man, like this is just so infuriating, so frustrating. I don't mind some shovelware, here and there, but when it just is far exceeding the number of quality titles, it gets to be really frustrating, especially when you have to review all this stuff too. So it was a tough way to start the year.
Oh, all right. So February 25th, we had one of my most anticipated games, Space Channel 5 VR, Kinda Funky Newsflash. This one was disappointing because it was $40 and it was 45 minutes long.
Yeah.
45 minutes long and $40. And they even tried to tell us, they're like, just to let you know, it's a short series and stuff. I went back and I played some of the old stuff, and even the old games were longer and had more variety than this one. So I actually liked the music in this game. I love the style, the Sega style in it. I liked some of the dance moves and stuff, but it was 45 minutes long and it was done. And that's including the extra content. The base game, the story mode was actually like 25-30 minutes, which is ridiculous. So really disappointing in terms of content and length.
Yeah. And there's like usually these kind of rhythm games have a ton of replayability, and there's just that wasn't there for this. I felt like this was you played it once and you basically saw everything. If you wanted to get all the collectibles, do your thing, then you could play it through it again. But man, yeah, $40 was asking a whole lot, and it didn't include everything that it should have. Like, the early trailers for this game advertised multiplayer. Yeah, and then then they just kind of like quietly pulled that from the trailer right before launch.
Right.
Released a new trailer that didn't say multiplayer, and then released the game at full price.
Right.
And then charged for the DLC that came out. It's like almost understandable being like, oh, we're going to charge full price for this game, but then keep delivering content over and over and over. I hate when they do that. I hate when they ask us to pay for everything up front and then, hope that they deliver the content later. But that's sort of what we expected was happening here. They said, oh, we'll add stuff later. And then they did, and then charged us for it. And it wasn't even good stuff.
No.
So
I actually replayed this game a bunch of times, and I there are certain moments in this game that I really, really loved.
It's not a bad game by any means.
Such a just shameless cash grab. They actually changed the price.
I just think it's too expensive. I don't think it's a shameless cash grab. I think it was a fun way to play Space Channel 5 if you have nostalgia for it. And mechanically, there's nothing wrong with the game. It's just too short and too expensive.
Yeah.
But it's fun to play. I like the way that they have you do all the stuff. I don't know.
Well, it has me concerned about this Legend of Dragoon saga that we're supposed to be not Legend of Dragoon.
The Panzer Dragoon.
Panzer Dragoon saga.
That's a brand new thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but I have a feeling that anytime Sega does any of these licensed games, I don't know if we've gotten anything else from them, but I feel like anything with Sega's name on it is going to be like 45 minutes and $40. So I'm just going to be cautious about those games moving forward. But they did reduce the price.
Once they get into VR, like full on, I wouldn't worry too much about stuff like that, because Sega as a games company has been pretty solid for the past 5 years at least. I don't know. They release all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, I think the problem is that Sega's not doing anything themselves. They're just licensing their properties out to these
Grounding Inc. and all these other people.
Who are way too small, and they can only afford to like make this short game, and then they try to make up their losses for all the licensing
price.
For the licensing fees and everything, and then for their development costs, like they overcharge for the game. Panzer Dragoon hopefully will be a different story. Voyage Record is supposed to take levels and elements from I want to say all. Did they say all 3 of the original games, which would be 1, 2, and Saga?
They're taking like stages from all 3 of them.
Yeah, which would be great, man. Like,
I'm not sure.
But that will be another short game. I'm sure of it.
Oh yeah, they're probably just going to take like 2 or 3 stages from each one, maybe some replayable modes like difficulty modes, score challenge, ship it out. I can't imagine it's going to be super in depth or anything.
Yeah, I agree with Geisen in the chat. He says Sega needs to re-release a proper Alien Isolation game, and I 100% with that.
Yeah, I don't think they will. I really don't think they will. It's been long enough that they could have. I mean, it's a PS3 game, just like the way Wipeout runs beautifully on PSVR. I really don't think that there's so much going on in Alien Isolation that it couldn't have run on the PS4 in VR.
Possibly.
I don't think they're going to do it. Or it would have, on PC. Like, it's been runnable on PC for years. People run it on their PC with the hacks and stuff.
Yeah. Just need that House of the Dead. That's all I want.
House of the Dead, baby. Warguard will finish that.
We need PSVR 2, man. Then we can just have PlayStation 5 games moving forward. Shout out to Donatello, the Scientist Game Cat, with the $5 donation, saying, with the exception of Shadow Legends, these games can suck it.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I agree.
Yeah, 9 games within the first 2 months. Well, a lot of games, but only one good one.
Yeah.
Space Channel 5 was okay, but it was also way too expensive. So
yeah, if that was a $15 game, I'd be like, everybody pick this up.
I think it is $25 now, but
that's not bad if you're a fan of the franchise and stuff.
So things did start picking up
on the very same day.
Oh. It did.
This came out. Freediver Triton Down came out the very, very same day as Space Channel 5, Kind of Funky Newsflash, and 100% had way, way more fun with this game. This game felt really immersive. It made me really think I was running out of air. The number of times I was under the water, holding my breath, forgetting that I was like, oh, I don't actually have to hold my own breath to get to the next oxygen station. This was just added a very, very cool gameplay element. That was, I think, much needed in VR. This was a good one.
Yes, I love. I used to do. I was on swim team for a long time, not a long time, a couple of years. And I love swimming. I'm a huge fan of swimming, and I really loved the innovation, the idea, the creativity behind this game. This is the kind of stuff I love to see in VR, where you move around. You actually do like the breaststroke, or you can do like a freestyle thing, or you're just swimming. I did try to do the butterfly. It didn't work. That's more of a complex swimming move.
You just grab the walls, man. You just grab the walls or the rocks and stuff and kind of pull yourself around. the locomotion in this game was fantastic. If you played this game just by holding the trigger to like auto swim, then you missed out on this game, because the most fun I had in this was just moving around the levels.
Yeah, I loved I just think it's a really cool, like kind of just short adventure. TA asked how long is it? I think it was about 2 hours long. It's not very long.
Yeah.
It is only $15 though, and it goes on sale occasionally. So I would say like pick it up when it goes on sale. But I think this, I think this is definitely a really, really cool game. And like you said, you know, it's a rush, escaping from a sinking boat, escaping from the bottom of a sinking boat, I think is such a cool, scary, thrilling. It's like a thriller movie. It's like a cheap thriller movie, that you get to play the main character for. And yeah, I think it was really cool. The story wasn't that great, but to me, it was all about the swimming and the mechanics and the problem solving and the survival, that made it really cool.
I just tagged, I'm gonna have to. I tagged the wrong Nick. You guys know who I was really talking to in the chat. Sorry, Nick Game Cat. How I was talking to Nick Milo. Autofill's the worst.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? If that's the worst technical difficulty we have in this GAMESCAST, I think we'll be just fine. So I feel kind of like a dilettante with this one. I barely played it. I did enjoy what I played of it, but I didn't play much of it. And oddly enough, and not that I'm saying that Space Channel 5 is any better or a better value or anything, I have played way more Space Channel 5 in hours than I have of this game. Because I've replayed it a few times, and then they had DLC, and I went back and tried it again, and there's some other modes and stuff. So, like, I don't know. This one I liked, but I just, for some reason, didn't get into enough to push through the whole 2 hours or whatever. So that's on me. I'm a heathen. I should have played it.
You know what?
Maybe I'll go back.
There was so many great ways the story was told in this game. You know, it was like sometimes you'd be the things you were doing in the game were being narrated as you were doing them, very Bastion style, which I love. But they didn't take enough advantage of that. And then the story was actually ended up being about 2/3 of the way through. The story ended up like going right down the shitter, and I was like, "What are you doing with this? Like, you had all these great opportunities." And so it was, you know, not finishing the game, not the worst thing ever. If you get to experience it and play, you know, and check out the gameplay mechanics and the movement, locomotion, I think you probably saw enough. Real quick, ET 2K9.now with the $33 donation saying, glad to see the three amigos together again. Happy New Year's, GamesCats.
Yeah, man. Back in action. Happy New Year, dude.
Yeah. Sorry for...
You know, Brian,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to apologize for being like, I'm still like half delirious right now. And so...
You're playing it off very well. I don't think anybody can tell. I can't even tell.
I feel like it's difficult to talk. My throat is like super sore, and I'm responding to people in the chat and trying to like do the thing. And I'm sort of just like half here. So
you're on autopilot. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. So apologies for that.
Somebody did accuse you of sounding raspy. I would call it sultry, guys. It's more like sultry, and it's got that.
I can barely speak.
I was going to say though,
thank you
the
for
fact that you were so into Bastion. I was surprised you didn't say anything when I brought up Hades, because that would be like, the storytelling is very similar. It's a very cool game. Art style is totally the same, but different a little bit. But yeah,
what I've seen of Hades looks fantastic, and I would love to get around to playing it, but I don't really play my Switch at all, and flat screen gaming. I played Cyberpunk 2077 for literally 10 minutes the other night, because you know how they did the Sony refund deal. You know, they were, first of all, I bought the game pretty early on. I never got around to playing it. For research purposes, I was like, oh, when, you know, if they're going to offer refunds, I'm going to get it. I'm going to ask for the refund and see what happens, just so I could talk about it on the show. You know, I wouldn't have refunded the game otherwise. I didn't know. Hadn't played it, so I didn't know like how broken it was. But I just wanted to be able to tell that story and, you know, see if Sony followed through and what the deal was. That was weeks ago. They never refunded me. So I was like,
well, of course. Yeah,
fuck it, man.
There's a big hubbub.
And it's been patched, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking try it out. And I started playing it, and I made my penis real big, and started playing. And it was, and I was like, this is great. This is great. But I was trying to play it from bed, right? And it's like my screen is just far enough away where I'm like squinting to try to read conversations, like my responses to conversations. And I was like, oh man, this isn't fun because I can't play it from bed. and I need to like sit
Well,
6 feet
so
closer to my
Brian,
television.
here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something for you here.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a little bit of advice, and you need to follow it because you're doing the wrong thing here. It's a little bit of tough love. You're way off course. If you're sat up in bed with the flu for weeks, the Switch is exactly the thing you should be
I don't
playing.
like my Switch.
And but hold on. If you can't play it comfortably from bed, you're not going to want to play it, so you're not going to play it. Also, that game takes so much time and energy, and you have to pay attention and keep track of the storylines and what people are saying and characters and stuff. Hades, you can play for 30 minutes and then pass out and then wake back up and play it for 30 more minutes. So I'm telling you, if you don't buy Hades, you're crazy because you really will like it. I swear to God, man.
Okay.
And it's perfect for being laid up in bed. I mean, that's what the Switch is for, I feel like. But you do you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like, my hands go numb when I play the Switch. I don't know what that's about. I don't.
You got to get a better sitting position. Get like one of those boyfriend pillows. You know what I'm talking about?
Like the talking about the
I can show you. I have one.
Is this the one with, with the lap? Like,
no, well, it doesn't have a lap.
I'll show you. I feel like we're getting way off course.
Well, you guys bring up the next game, and by the time I get back, we'll be talking about it.
All right. So anyway, things started to turn around a little bit, right? Space Channel 5, fun game, but overpriced. Free Diver, fun game, kind of short. And then it only took another week and a half or so, almost 2 weeks, until we got one of my favorite games of the year on March 4th. We finally got Separation from Recluse Industries.
Oh, yeah.
This game was so much better than I was expecting it to be. I remember like thinking, okay, it doesn't look that great. And then the final trailer that released, I finally saw the game like in its final form and the vision. He did a really good job of showing like the vision that he had for the game in the trailer. And I was like, wow, this looks really stunning and really like the music, you know, he did the music himself and everything. And yeah, I think it had small little VR interactive things it was missing, right? Like not really the best VR game. But I think the world, the kind of art style and everything thought behind it was very inspired and very there was definitely like a part of this game that got me like a little emotional even because I've always said this before, I'm not the sad emotional type. I'm usually like the this is beautiful emotional type. And this game had one of those moments where I was like, this is stunning. Like this is so creative and just really cool.
100%, man. Like this was one of those games where this hadn't happened in such a long time, where we were playing this game at the exact same time. We both started on the same day, and in every couple hours we'd have to call each other and be like, "Where are you at? What are you doing? How did you
Oh, right.
this sorrow?" You know, like there were these certain puzzles,
Right.
and some of you can kind of skip for a little while and come back to, and we're like, "Well, how did you do this? How did you do that?" And it was so mysterious because it kind of throws you into this world and doesn't hold your hand. It just kind of goes, "Go to it, man." And we went to it, and I mean, I played it nonstop basically for 8 hours or so, and it seemed like, and it just kept opening up, and like we're like, holy shit, this is an open world. This is an open world made by one person, with cool puzzles and cool music and just like this awesome solitary experience. And it really captured, like for somebody like me who's like lost one of the most important people in his life, like that, the way that this game conveys that to the player and kind of like respects that emotion is so breathtaking and so beautiful and so amazing that like it was hard not to like be really reflective the whole time you're playing and just like kind of take it all in. This is such an astonishing achievement, and this is for $12.99. He priced it the same as he would an album because he's such a musician at heart, and I love that. And so like, yeah, if you don't own this, you're absolutely insane. Beautiful adventure.
I have to agree. Like as far as not hitting you over the head with the emotions that it's presenting, like really just letting you sit with them and presenting them in an almost like disaffected or like distanced way, where it's just like the game isn't really emotional. It's almost the absence. It's everything's gray and bleak and all this stuff, but then certain things happen that give you this hit of emotion that change your whole view of the game in like a second. And I've said before that I really love these games that sort of let you discover things on your own. They're not giving you button prompts. They're not saying, "Hey, here's a big thing. Go do this." Beep 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 beep. Here's your indicator. Walk up, press it.
Right.
Like it's one of these games where the
The
puzzles
puzzle is
don't
to figure out what the
explain
puzzle
themselves.
is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You need to wander around and be like, "What am I supposed to do here?" And then when you
Yeah.
figure it out, you're like, "Oh, okay." And I love that kind of gameplay design. Very.
I do too. I think it was a couple flaws here and there though in terms of that, like doing that. I think there were some parts where you could definitely get lost and not know, like you end up like walking around forever, exploring forever because of it, because of that lack of guidance. But
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
You can,
and I think
you can. It seems like the game is structured to say, you know what, if you feel like you're getting lost, head the fuck back to the last puzzle and like
right.
don't look too far away. Like the next step is just near the last step that you took. Like, but
One of
it
my
does. It allows
favorite-
you to get out there and like get lost.
This game really stole. We're going to talk about Paper Beast in a little bit. We already talked about Paper Beast a little bit already, but this game was really more of that experience that I had that I think some people liked Paper Beast for. This was the game instead of Paper Beast for me. That really had like some kind of meaningful fill in the blank, like what do you think this all means and stuff. And this way more had that effect. Also, my favorite part was how he kept telling everybody this was a 2-hour game, and we're like messaging him. We're like, dude, this game is 5 hours long. Like,
well,
like quit
2 hours
telling
for him
people
because he knows where everything
yeah,
is.
it's 2 hours long because you designed it. Like this is
Yeah,
a
exactly.
5-hour game at least.
Right. And that was perfect for me. Like, I mean, I think it took me 7 or 8 hours to beat, and and I certainly got lost once or twice, and struggled to
everybody
find some
will
of the
get lost.
solutions. Yeah,
You will.
Yeah.
but that's
Well,
just
but I mean,
part
you
of
get
it,
lost playing Shadow of the Colossus too, man. Who cares? Like, it's part of
Decepticon-
the thing. It's part of the thing.
Exactly.
Decepticon, yeah, it says just starting playing this so far. I'm enjoying it. Reminds me of a bit like Myst.
Like Myst.
Decepticon, have you played Paper Beast? Because I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on that one as well.
Paper Beast has that thing I like too, where it's got the gameplay that doesn't explain itself to you. You got to figure out what the puzzle is before you figure out how to beat the puzzle.
So this game, I do want to have one small spoiler because you've had your chance to play this stuff by now, and perhaps one of the best things that I could say that this game did, it gives you a hot air balloon.
Oh man, you should have hinted at it. Damn, I really want people to experience that twist for themselves.
But nobody's gonna play it. Nobody's gonna play it.
Since we've already spoiled
AJ,
it, we need to talk about this.
But I want to talk about the concept of spoilers in a game from earlier in 2020, real quick before we move on. Isn't our idea here, if people haven't played it, to convince them to go out and buy this game that they might not have checked out yet? Maybe. So all I'm saying is, if we
reviewing it,
that was such a big emotional thing when you get into it. It's like I was specifically not mentioning it personally. I didn't want to say anything about it.
Well, we made a point. We talked about it earlier on. We were like, we
spoiled it on the channel. Like,
oh, so you guys have talked about everything.
No,
you gotta loop me in on some of this.
No. Like back when we were reviewing the game, I was like, we're not showing any of the hot air balloon stuff,
right?
Because it's just
you
like,
shouldn't.
Right, and so just to kind of like carry on with the spoiler discussion of this, I remember seeing off in the distance, I was like, oh, there's a little tower and there's a fucking hot air balloon in it. I was like, oh, that's fucking cool, man, because I was like, that must be the end of the game. And when I finally got there and started running toward it, I was like, here we go. This is like Wizard of Oz, right? You're going to jump into the hot air balloon, say goodbye, and then like float home. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm still playing, and now I have a brand new way to explore this huge open world. And so all those like towers and all the fucking vistas out in the distance that I couldn't get to before, I now have totally free access to get to because I can just fucking sail there in a hot air balloon. And so this was
the entire level opens up with the hot air balloon, and open world, no loading screens in this game. That's another thing. One guy made this game, no loading screens once you start the game. It's incredible and can explore the entire area. And you realize how big the area is once you get that hot air balloon and just how beautiful. The music kicks in. So good, man.
All right, guys, we should probably move along to the next game that came out, which was only about 5 days later. This was on March 9th. Again, a next game by White Elk, Covert, who had just brought us, 2 months before, they had brought us Eclipse Edge of Light, throw in that orb, right? But then they gave us Covert, which was a multiplayer only game. And the other person playing that wasn't in VR required a cell phone app to play along. I mean, quite a commitment here. Like, you need another person and they need to be on this app.
Yeah, these games are always destined to kind of flop, I think. I don't know, maybe on a mobile VR headset, because like it's mobile, so you're just walking around and like, hey, you got a cell phone? Play this game with me. Just some guy on the street. No, but I don't know. This is not the best PSVR release. I tried to play it by myself, switching off on the phone app and the thing. I think eventually what I settled on was you don't have to be on the same Wi-Fi, do you? You join like a room together. So you can play with friends remotely. So in the event that you're like, say like you get a, speaker chat call going or something like that, and you just like talk to them, talk through it, you can play with friends that way. So it's better than stuff like Black Hat Cooperative, where you have to have a person in the room with you. There is no online functionality, or even like Persistence, where somebody can play with you, but they have to be sitting on the couch next to you. They can't be on a different Wi-Fi network. So that's the one thing it had going for it, I think. It was kind of fun when I played it like that. It was okay, but nothing that you have to have, I don't think.
Nihilist Ryan says, I played a lot of Covert with my girlfriend. Good times. Justin Carvel said Covert's dope. Cool. That boss fight, though. I gotta be honest, I didn't really like this game that much. Yeah. I actually enjoyed doing the mobile phone stuff more than doing the VR stuff. And the reason is, I don't know. I couldn't tell you why. But
actually, I kind of had the same feeling, I think, because I switched off.
I enjoyed the phone stuff surprisingly more, which is crazy because I think it was probably like the first mobile game I've ever played. But I don't know. I didn't like that when you're in the headset, you have to do every single thing the person tells you. There's no freedom to do whatever you want. I think this game is okay, but I'm not a fan of this game.
I mean, with Hitman coming out in like 2 weeks, this game you don't need this game. You're looking for stealth, covert, infiltration kind of game.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit of a spy thing.
It was a game he designed. Jonathan, whatever his name is, he designed this game as something for him and his wife to play. So I think this is a couples game. I think those who enjoyed this was something that they played as couples, and I played it with Brian, and we are not a couple, and so my experience is not as good.
Listen, guys, you can reveal to the world now in 2021.
Okay, here it is. It is awful playing multiplayer with Brian.
It's true.
Because we're married secretly.
No, it's not true. It's not true.
Oh my God. I'm just going to have nightmares for weeks. No offense to anyone involved in that conversation.
He's the one who gets to peek under the
no, AJ just doesn't do what I need him to do in the movie theater. So that's why it hasn't worked out, folks. That's the real secret. But no, but AJ's right though. The biggest problem with this game is that literally it's the person on the phone app that is always constantly telling the person in VR what to do. It's like the person in VR almost has like a fucking blindfold on, and you're just like, can I walk forward? Can I walk forward?
Yeah,
can I walk forward? And it's like,
okay,
now go do this. Now go do that. Now go do this. And you're just basically running through the level as the other person takes down all the obstacles and does all the fun stuff. And so I had fun playing through twice and seeing what the other person was doing the whole time. So after going through the entire game in VR with AJ, and then suddenly I'm going through the entire game on the cell phone, getting him through the game, and it was a whole lot more fun on the mobile app. But if you are in a couple or whatever, this is a really fun way to spend a few hours together, though. I
real quick, Sean Yarbrough in the chat says, I have a party to attend. You guys are great, love you. I like the second and third part of that. You're going to party? Put a mask on. Make those people wear masks. Don't go to parties. Don't be going to parties. Oh no, I'm just saying. Like, Don't go to a party.
So we do have a $10 donation from Kenster. I love this question. What is your most anticipated game for 2021 besides Hitman 3, which looks great?
What is the average velocity of an unmaiden swat?
He's like a troll or like somebody.
Yeah. Most anticipated game of 2021.
I'm excited. Besides Hitman 3, because that's obviously like the biggest one, the most anticipated at this time.
It's so tough to say, man. Obviously because it's a horror game, I'm excited for Wraith, the Oblivion Afterlife.
Yeah, that should be really good.
The problem is I don't feel like Fast Travel has shown me what I need to see to be excited about it. Like, I love that they're making it, and I love that they're making a horror game. But I feel like that so far, I was talking to Andreas Juliusson, and I was like, what I need to be excited for your game is like 2 minutes of just gameplay footage. Just show me 2 minutes of what you do in this game, run like second after second after second, moment to moment. And so far, I haven't seen that. Show me something I should be scared of. I don't want to spoil anything either, though. That's the other problem. So that's one of those games that I'm excited to play because I know once I'm in there, I'm going to be really, really excited. But right now, I'm just trying to like be excited for something that I'm not excited for, which is a strange thing to say.
It's kind of between two for me. I want to say I really, really want to say Sniper Elite VR. Because that kind of is my most anticipated, but I don't know why. For some reason, I could say Sniper Elite VR or Dash Dash Racing, but I'm gonna have to actually go with Until You Fall. And I know I'm kind of After the Fall. I'm kind of taking a risk here because Arizona Sunshine is kind of a jank fest, but something about After the Fall just really has my attention. The world, the characters, the zombies, the bosses. It's kind of like, it looks a lot like Left 4 Dead in VR. Yeah. And I really like that concept. That's a really fun game, fun series. So I'm going to have to go with After the Fall, but it could easily be like so many other games as well.
Yeah, I mean, After the Fall is kind of what I was thinking too, but I have a backup one that I'll say instead. But as far as that goes, I didn't like Arizona Sunshine much either. But the fact that it was so successful means that they've had a few years with a much bigger, probably, some industry vets who've been around the block, that they got to hire and stuff like that. I think from what I've seen, it looks like a much better game, like a really good game that I want to play. So that's high on my list. Sniper Elite also is up there. Humanity, I think, is what I'm going to say, just because I don't know what the fuck that game is, and I'm so excited to figure out what that game is. And anything Mizuguchi touches, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll buy it. I'll pre-order anything Mizuguchi does. I don't give a shit. Yeah.
You do love Mizuguchi games.
Why not? They're great.
Let's give a shout out to Creeper Betty PSVR with a $10 donation saying thank you, Brian, Dave, and AJ for the awesome Game Cats and all the awesome Game Cats for making 2020 better than was anticipated. Better than was anticipated. I can't read either today. That's a problem. Yeah. I'm looking forward to 2021. Purr. Thank you for making proper purr sounds. We all know that I sound like Marge Simpson when I try to purr.
Can I hear? Real quick.
Homie.
No. My throat is so dry right now.
Humanity's I'm hoping for more of a mix-up of games. I think I did a upcoming games list, and I think there's a lot of shooters. And I was like, somebody even left a comment. I think it was Genetic Blasphemy or Perfected Insanity, but they were like so many shooters, and I'm like, I know, man. Like I actually had to kind of break up the video a little bit because, like, I mean, I like shooters, but like, I didn't want every single game to be a shooter. I like stuff like Dash Dash World, like Humanity, things that do other things that are not all about just shooting things all the time. I think there's got to be you got to strike a good balance of different types. So
yeah, I do. I mean, it is good that we have a few different types of shooting games coming out this year. Like After the Fall is going to be an entirely different vibe. It's going to play so much differently than Sniper Elite is going to play.
Hitman. I mean, Hitman's like stealth,
Well, yeah, it's not. I wouldn't even call Hitman a shooter game. I mean, you're not even supposed to shoot people. You get in trouble if you go around and shoot people. So, All right,
great question.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Kenster. Things we're getting close to the good stuff. We're getting closer and closer to the good stuff.
Are we getting close to the halfway point?
No. We do need to pick up the pace a little bit here.
Okay, we're gonna pick up the pace. March 24th is actually Paper Beast by Pixel Reef. This is Eric Chahi's game. We talk about this one all the time. I was hoping for a really cool Lion King made out of paper experience. Instead,
you wanted a Lion King?
I wanted the Lion King made out of paper.
Bad expectations.
Very bad expectations.
It didn't even look like that. What are you talking about?
I like, and I'm a big fan of Eric Chahi, just like Brian is. He loves Another World. Most people do. I loved Heart of Darkness. Heart of Darkness is like probably one of my favorite PS1 games ever. And
ranks right up there with Jet Moto and Bloody Roar.
Yeah,
Heart of Darkness is a legitimately good game. If you look at it,
I own Heart of Darkness. It's awesome.
Those were but Heart of Darkness was much better. I will give you that. It was much better. And yeah, I think this game was creative. I think it was cool. The only problem is they really went for something like crazy that was like blow your mind. And I don't think most people it's going to catch on with. Again, final thoughts on this for me. There are some glimpses of greatness in this game, but most of it's kind of just frustrating or boring. The sandbox and the physics and the artwork are really, really cool, though. That part I did like about it.
Here's what I'm going to say on this one. We already talked about it pretty much at a decent amount of length when we brought up the physical release. And I just looked at we're not even anywhere near halfway through the games. We're like a third, generously speaking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's not spend too much time on Paper Beast. We talked about it already. You guys know what we think.
I love how you dragged out the Paper Beast conversation to say, let's not talk too much about Paper Beast.
You could just say something real quick and move on.
To me, Paper Beast.
I'm trying to throw the gauntlet down for the show in general.
Paper Beast seems like somebody who had an artistic vision. Obviously, Eric Chahi's a very artistic person, but he spent a lot of time making this artistic vision he had in VR, and it was unfortunately his first VR project, and it reeks of somebody's first VR project. It feels
teleportation, click turn only.
Blech. Exactly. And I think some of the puzzle designs suffered because of it as well. Anyway, there's going to be a lot of people saying how much they love it. There is a demo. That's a problem though too, because when I played the demo at PAX East, a month before this thing came out, I loved the first 5-10 minutes of this game. Like whatever it lets you play, I was like, this is great. I can't wait to see where this goes. And unfortunately, I didn't like really where it went after that. And so the demo kind of gives you a false sense of how great the game might be when it might not be great for you after that. Again. Yeah. Time to move on.
Some people like it, some people don't. Yeah. All right, here we go. First really, really good, polished, awesome game, I think, in my opinion. March 25th, we got The Room VR, A Dark Matter by Fireproof Studios, winner of the Best PSVR Puzzle Award of 2020. Man.
What else did we say?
This just super polished, super high quality, visually amazing. The puzzles were amazing. The atmosphere had this dark and creepy atmosphere in a museum, like a creepy museum vibe with puzzles and stuff. How cool is that? I love this game. I adore this game. 4 hours and it's done, which is the only problem. But I think next time this game goes on sale, I think you absolutely have to pick this up. I love this game.
Yeah. No, we've had so many escape room games on PlayStation VR, and this was like the one that everybody was like, oh, I hope we get The Room in VR someday. Every time a escape room game would come out, that's what we'd hear. And so this is like kind of like the masters of escape room games, the creators of escape room games, sort of coming to show everyone how it's done. And I think, they absolutely killed it.
Yeah.
So no questions about that one, man. Right? I think.
Yeah, I played it. Egypt puzzles, great game. I love it. Beginning with when you were saying this was chosen as the best puzzle game of the year, I said we don't need to say any more about it. It's the best puzzle game of the year. Let's go.
So March 27th, we had Tilt Brush by Google. I bought this. I didn't ever use it. Don't really care about making art in games. I don't really care about making art as much as I care about making VR games and dreams. Which I don't know. I know you think that's unfair and stuff, but to me, I have zero interest. in this game. It's a cool tool thing, but
it's not a game.
not a fan. I feel like we should have gotten this like way before, like when we got
Absolutely.
What is that called?
Cool Painter VR, Sculptor VR.
Cool Painter. Yeah. I feel like we should have gotten this like back then instead of. I think this is way too late to get this game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I played Tilt Brush before they released PSVR. I played it at like a demo at the Microsoft store.
Right.
And I thought it was incredible. I was like, holy shit, this is. But I had never played VR before. So I was like, this is. The idea of painting in 3D space at the time was very cool. It's still cool. I mean, it's a good tool, but there is other stuff out there. So
next we had March 27th. We had Atex Cybernetic by X-Real Games. This game looked like a Doom knockoff. It looked like it was going to be kind of fun because we heard good things about from the PC side, but you can never judge a PSVR game by its PC or other platforms because usually we get something different, and in this case it was not very good.
I mean, how much do people like it on Steam? I feel like I'd be surprised if I look right now and saw more than a 7 out of 10.
Probably, yeah, probably not that much, but yeah, I think for me just the most disappointing thing was like the combat, the graphics. It was super janky, and honestly this game has me a little bit worried about Zero Caliber because this is the same developers of Zero Caliber. I was really excited about that game until I played this.
I've played Zero Caliber. I like it.
You like it?
It's going to wait for PSVR 2, I bet you, because it won't work the way it's set up with our controllers.
Yeah.
But on PSVR 2, it'll be good. I played it with Drew, and I had a good time with it.
Yeah, but
I take it back. Actually, the reviews on PC are mostly positive. It's not even like middling. Oh, it says 71%. I guess that is a 7 out of 10. But anyways, it didn't do too well on PSVR. I'll agree with you.
Yeah, I feel like this game, like it had such great atmosphere from the get go. You're on like this ship that's been overtaken by mutants or whatever, and just like there's blood on the walls and like satanic rituals going on everywhere, and you're just like, what is going on? Like it just had this Dead Space vibe that I was like, this is going to be great. And then like after the first hour, they just throw that out the window, and it's so generic from that point on, where it's just like room after room after room, corridor, desert, whatever. It's just nonstop running around shooting, crazy easy. And of course, like one of the big things that killed from the PC version was that enemies just zapped out of existence when you killed them, which meant it like really lost all impact. There was like zero enemy physics.
No physics, and the ragdoll was a big selling point on this.
Yeah. So this one I feel like had potential. They just didn't like follow through with it on PSVR. I don't know.
Did not do good.
And
we had March 30th. We had Good Goliath by Knock Twice and Disney.
Disney?
No, it's not Disney.
Oh, maybe it was former members of Disney that were
Disney
made.
Release this.
Sorry. No. I thought it was like produced or something by Disney.
No.
That would be a lot more well known. It is a decent game. It's like a wave thrower. What do you call it? Wave thrower. Nothing terrible about it, but just like coming out when it did, it's like, this doesn't. It seems like a first year or two kind of game. I guess we'll still always get a little bit of antiquated VR stuff or like It's not shovelware. I don't want to say it's shovelware, but towards that side of the spectrum, as opposed to the good stuff. I don't know.
It's funny this one comes right after Atex Cybernetic on the list. It comes out 3 days later because I feel like this had the same problem. Like it starts off so strong, where it's like, oh man, everything in this first village is destructible. Everything you throw, things are blowing up, and like you're finding hidden items in the houses that you're breaking and stuff. And then every level just gets more and more sparse as you go, which is like, oh man, all the fun that I was having on the first level is kind of fading. This is one of those I look back on and go, man, I really overrated this at a 7. I easily could have given this one like, a 6, possibly a 5.8, something like that. And
I would put it like 6.5 or something.
But I was having so much fun. Like the whole game is just throwing stuff, and I think I just needed an active game at that point. That like I was having fun doing that. It just kind of lost its luster like way too early.
I love Dave's drug play of this game because he didn't even get past the first level. It's like 45 minutes of the first level and him just dying.
Water level. I swear I got to the water level.
Did you? Maybe you did.
The boats, yeah.
I honestly, I wanted to like this game. I appreciated this game, but it was just overall not very good. I'm not. I didn't think it was very good. I think it had the right idea. It just failed to be like really fun and addicting. But definitely played worse things.
Oh, the Mad Game Cat has tipped us $2, and he says most anticipated game, and I think he's answering his own question.
Right,
He's already answered it.
Distortion VR,
Distortion VR, and always Alvo. Alvo is one that I forgot about actually, but yeah, keep an eye out for Alvo. It's pretty fun. Distortion should be cool too.
Witness. So next, March 31st, the second year anniversary of Preda and and Wipeout. We had no, I'm sorry, 1 year anniversary. We had Final Assault by Phaser Lock Interactive. We talk about this game all the time. It's similar to like Command and Conquer. It's got a price reduction to $9.99, which is crazy. Highly recommend this game. It kicks all sorts of ass.
Yeah, it's one of the few RTS games that we have that's pretty decent. And it's not like full RTS. Like you sort of set stuff on a path and you just kind of got to let it go. Well, I guess it is kind of like an RTS. But the multiplayer, I think people got a lot of use out of. I know our community on Discord for a while and on PSN was doing a ton of multiplayer games, 1v1s.
I played this almost entirely, about 10 hours-ish, and I played it almost entirely single player.
Well, yeah, and I mean the single player is just as fun, but a lot of people out there were enjoying the multiplayer too.
I know some of the cats were, but they'll play anything multiplayer.
Yeah, shut up. No, it's the multiplayer.
They're like multiplayer. Let's play it for months and months and months.
Yeah,
they're the best, man. They're the ones keeping these games alive.
This game was great. We kept hearing it was coming, and then finally it shows up, and we're like, oh, this is really, really fun. Sadly, one of the games I never got around to reviewing just because of because of scheduling and stuff like that. But man, this absolutely would have gotten a really high score, probably a 9 out of 10. I had so much fun with this when I played it. Even when I was like, even the very beginning, where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I keep losing. Bless you. And I was losing constantly, but I was like still like having fun just taking planes off my clipboard and throwing them into the air and like, okay, let's do this. So much fun. Absolutely. I want to give a shout out to Nick the Game Cat How with the $5 donation, who writes, sorry, my chat's not updating. Glad to see you guys. Well, glad to see you too, Nick. Thank you so much.
You too, man. Professor Lilith says, yes, it's true. We'll play anything that lets us get together and talk shit. Damn right, Lilith.
It's funny because Nick to tip with the question that he asked us before, and I was like, you should tip with that in the question, so we'll have to talk about it because I liked it. But then he just tipped with that, and there's no question.
So April 7th.
Oh wow, we're on Q2, guys. We're
Q2.
We're now 26% of the way there.
April 7th, we have Form by Charm Games. I hate this game.
It's not that good.
I like it.
The thing, all we gotta say is AJ's like to describe it as one of those toys in the doctor's office for kids that you just move the ball along the wooden ball along the wire.
The square goes into the square hole. Woo! Yeah. I solved it, you guys. Game complete.
Yeah, as far as like the way it looked and the atmosphere and stuff, that's all fine. But the actual puzzling stuff, not too great.
Yeah, puzzles were terrible.
Puzzles were pretty weak, but I did enjoy like just the experience of it all. As far as VR experiences go, like I really enjoyed this one quite a bit. But yeah, don't be like, oh, I need a good puzzle game. What should I get? Oh, Form. No. Square peg, square hole. That's what this game is.
Yep. Next we had on the same day. Wow. 2 for 1. We got Sharknado VR.
I had a little fun with this one. It's so bad.
It's terrible.
Drunk stream. It's one of those ones. But yeah, as a game, no, we're terrible. No, it's not even
to the good game. We're so close to the good games, but we've got a rough patch.
I said we shouldn't talk about every single game that came out.
Brian, quick thoughts on Sharknado, other than it's a piece of shit.
I mean, it's a piece of shit. Like this is a cash in right here. This is a cash grab, 100%. It just the gameplay is rough as hell. The graphics are rough. It's not fun. The final boss is, I mean, one of the most annoying things I've ever done in my life. No, this game's garbage. I'm just glad they priced it well. It was like $10, $12, something like that, because when it was on PC, I think it was like $30. I think they were really charging a lot for this.
What did Joe Grover keep calling this game? I was so surprised this game actually had full locomotion. I think that was the only good thing about it. Was I was like, oh my god, full locomotion, smooth turning, holy shit!
Right, you could run around in a space smaller than my apartment,
and you could jump like 20 feet in the air. It was so weird.
Oh yeah, you could jump high. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
and the other thing I liked is when you shoot the sharks, they turn into a bunch of slices of meat instead of exploding or something. That was the funniest fucking
worst
thing.
game ever. Good God.
Yeah.
Next, we had A Room Where Art Conceals by Deer VR, where you're supposed to like walk into paintings. I never played it. I wanted to.
Paintings, but it's 360 video.
It's like more than that, but it's not. Yeah.
I think it gives you the illusion occasionally that it's got 3D effects, but I don't really think it does have 3D effects. At least when I played it, the Hong Kong version is where I played it back like a year and a half or some shit ago. And I wasn't that impressed, but I wasn't. Some people would like the idea of riding through a Vincent Van Gogh painting in a 360 panorama, like your grandma.
That's what I was hoping. That's what I was thinking for.
But if you want a game, steer clear of.
I was actually gonna buy it, and then because I was interested to Starry Night is like one of my favorite paintings ever, and I was gonna buy it, and then they go, hey, we know who you are. Do you want a code? And I was like, yeah, sure, give me a code. And then I never heard back, so I never ended up getting it. I was gonna buy it. They interrupted me buying it by saying we'll give you a code, and then never gave me a code. So
you didn't
never played it. Yep.
No,
speaking of not missing too much, Disaster Report 4 came out on April 20th. Summer Memories by Grinzella. And this is mostly a flat game. It just has like a VR mode. And I liked the concept of this game, but it was just janky and not very good.
Dude, this is the last flat screen game that I beat, and I had to unlock all the VR stuff. And I think that's fucking so mean to be like, you have to play this horrible, like it's not well translated. It doesn't play very well. It doesn't give you never know what you're supposed to do next. Like you just have to stumble across whatever triggers the next cutscene. Like there's so much stuff where it's just nonsense. I feel like
what I would do is like release the VR stuff as a standalone thing where you don't have to beat anything. You don't have to do anything. Price it for like $8 or $10 maybe, and then say, hey, if you buy this you get a discount on the full game or something like that. Some kind of deal like that.
Stop locking the VR content behind your non-VR game.
Exactly. And I'm sure the game itself was kind of not that bad, right? Like Disaster Report 4, it seems like a fun concept. You're trying to get disasters running around
but it wasn't good though.
No. Okay. This game did have a tragic story though, where there's an interesting.
Do we need to hear it?
No, we don't need to. But it actually had a very interesting, like, it's kind of a miracle that this game even got released, because it just always had the worst timing when it tried to come out. So yeah. But next, April 22nd, 1992. No, never mind. Sorry, the wrong song. Yep. April 26th, I think.
It was right on the street. Tell me, where were you?
I know that whole song. I could sing that whole song, but we don't have time. Spuds Unearthed.
It was unplayable when I tried to play it, so I didn't play it. So I never played it.
Tower defense that was actually had like maybe okay design, but really was kind of more like an early 2000s PC game. Would have been better off as like a late 90s, early 2000s PC game versus a.
It was literally broken when I like it did not. I could not start playing it. Like it just wouldn't let me. So that was frustrating.
Yeah, by the time it started working, I had my schedule was like occupied with other things, so I never got to play this game properly. I got nothing to say about it.
Yeah, no, it's not very good. It's actually awful. So next we had April 30th, Down the Rabbit Hole by Cortopia, another game that some people like that I hate. I think this game sucks. I don't like any of Cortopia's games.
What I'm learning, I can't do the sort of like midway thing where you go wham, 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 wham with my left hand as well as I can do it with my right hand. You know, that sort of, there's a thumbs up, there's a thumbs down, and then we do this thing in between.
Oh, you can't like this?
Really not as well with my left hand. That's weird.
Oh, that's
but yeah, that's all I have to say about this game. Middle of the road. It's got some good stuff. It's got some I
liked one level in its 2-hour playthrough.
I feel like this is another one that starts off so strong and just loses all steam and all intrigue and all luster by like the halfway mark, where it's just like it's the puzzles were not interesting at all, and it's like already using an established franchise where it's like, you didn't actually have to do too much as developers. You just had to come up with some cool puzzles, and I feel like they kind of failed at that.
Now, the only thing I'll say is I don't give a shit about Alice in Wonderland. I actually actively kind of dislike Alice in Wonderland. There's something about the whole franchise that just like it's not my thing.
I love Alice in Wonderland. This game sucks.
I know you know that, but for me, as somebody who doesn't like Alice in Wonderland, I actually kind of liked their presentation of the story stuff and the non-puzzle aspects. As a non-Alice in Wonderland fan, I actually liked, and so then I was disappointed that the game around it wasn't that good. So that's all. Yeah.
Well, guys,
I'm not a gamer chick.
Next, this is where the entire year turned around and started getting freaking awesome because on May 5th, 2020, The Walking Dead: Saints and Sinners by Skydance Interactive came out. This was easily the best game of the year. One of the best games on PSVR, if not the best game on PSVR. I got the poster because it's fucking awesome. Yeah. I mean, what is there to say? I gave this game a 10 out of 10. I think if anything else, it could have been anywhere from a 9.5 to 9.8, still in the upper 9 echelon. Amazing game. Everybody should have this. This game is also on sale on PSN right now for $23.99, I think. Let me go to my Twitter. I got to resort to my own Twitter. $23.99 for Saints and Sinners. Everybody needs this game. It's like one of the best VR games ever made. It's incredible.
Since
why not give it a 10?
Sorry. Since everybody already knows about this game and like already kind of like understands that it's awesome, it's like we talk about it on every top 25 list and all that shit now. And it won most epic VR adventure, I believe, for the PSVR award show. I don't know if we've ever talked about our. It should have won a lot more. That's for sure. I don't know if we've ever talked about like what happened at launch with this game. Like we were actually contacted by like the PR team or was it Skydance themselves? Like a week before this game came out and was like, "Hey guys, do you agree to this like embargo?" And we're like, "Of course we do. Of course we agree to embargo. We always agree to embargo." It's like we've talked to hundreds of developers over the last few years, never broken an embargo. And they said, "Okay, excellent. Well, you're not allowed to talk about this, blah, 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 blah." And I'm looking, I'm kind of scrolling quickly through the email after I've agreed to the embargo. No review key. No game for me to go play for the next few days and then review and get a jump on. No, none of that. Just letting us know what day the game is coming out.
Funny enough, they actually messaged us at the beginning of April. This is May 5th is when it actually came out. Right. They messaged us at April. And if you remember at the time, everything we were doing, when is Saints and Sinners coming out?
Yeah.
When is Saints and Sinners coming out? It would not stop. It was driving me fucking crazy.
Right.
And so they messaged us and we were like, "Guys, we will let you know when it happens."
Right.
And so they messaged us and say, "Okay, you're under embargo, but it comes out at the end of April. It comes out April, I think 31st or something, or 30th." And we were like, "Sweet, like everyone's gonna lose their shit." And then they go, "Oh, it's been delayed to May," and then they were like, "There's no there," but they put us under embargo without giving us a key. I've never ever been under embargo without having anything.
Right, be like, "We have a secret to tell you."
Yeah.
And all we're going to do is not allow you to tell the secret. It's like, what? Well, why did you even let us know? Who the fuck cares?
I want to be under embargo to know a secret, like when it was going to come out. Like
never. This has never happened to me. But like I've been doing this for 5 or 6 years. Unbelievable.
The idea is we don't spoil the game or anything about it, or do a review until the embargo lifts. So it was very strange.
Right. Never in 5 years of doing this have somebody ever been like, "You do agree to this embargo?" Say yes, and then they just don't ever deliver the game. I'm like,
they don't give you anything.
So thanks for the secret.
Yeah, thanks. Now we know, and we can't tell anybody, and we don't have the game.
Right, we can't even make a breaking news report, like nothing, because the embargo lifted after the game came out. We couldn't even have a breaking news report ready. It's like the game's already fucking out. Like we're not breaking any news.
And we promised everybody that we would tell them when we could, and we couldn't.
Yeah, we're sitting there with our fucking thumbs up our ass.
Everybody knew about the release of the game, and we never even got to tell them.
Yeah.
Man. But anyways, amazing game. Everybody needs to pick this game up. I still play it. I still play the trials a lot. and it's just so good. And I'm so proud of this game for just being one of, like, in so many years over the years, there's been games where it's like, oh, why is there click turning teleport only? Like, why? Like, how do you not know that us that are buying this game first and foremost hate these things? We hate blinders, we hate click turning, we hate teleport only. And this game just did everything to the max. I mean, the way the stuff interacts within the game, the depth that you can interact with stuff in the game. This game is VR as fuck, as you like to say. And possibly even more than Shadow Legend. I think this game could have won that. Could have easily taken the VR as fuck award, because I feel like this game possibly is more like more, has more depth than Shadow Legend. But amazing game. All right, let's quit. Let's quit. Talking up Gamer Chick's ego here and move on to the next one. She doesn't need an ego boost anymore.
Well, you're definitely right though. This was great. You know, it was something that we really needed injected into 2020. We just needed an amazing game that was like really polished, and we got it. And then of course, about a week later, we got another great game from Arvory called Pixel Ripped 1995. Again, we talked about this at length. I think we all kind of agree it lost the edge that the original game had, and maybe wasn't as innovative anymore. Yeah. So like it never quite lived up to the original, but it was still a great follow up.
Yeah, I really did like this game a lot, but totally agree that it was just too clean and too not edgy enough and wild enough and spontaneous enough. It was very controlled, and I think the wild side of Ana Ribeiro's creation is like what makes it fun. And they still a good game, but little too on the chill side,
a little tame.
I got a funny embargo story about this, so it's only gonna take about 5 minutes to tell you.
Gorn eventually, yes. What did you think about Pixel Rip 1995?
It's good. It's not as good as the first one. There's something about the initial joy of that, the concept. You're like, oh, what a cool concept. I love this. And then you play the second one and you're like, still the same concept, like really still the same concept. Except for a few twists on it. I don't know. Maybe a better difficulty curve. That's the only thing I can say compared to the first one.
Maybe. It definitely did not feel like it had any of those crazy difficult moments at all. Maybe too easy for sure.
Oh, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I think I beat my first run. I never died once. I had to go back and die to see what happens when you died. So the funny thing is during this entire year so far, leading up to May 19th, one of the comments I got more often than anything else on the channel. When we did live streams, whenever we posted any video, didn't matter what the video was about, the most common comment we'd get, when is Gorn coming out? And
wow.
And this wasn't
Gorn and man.
Right, but I mean, Gorn was like a level I'd never seen before. It was so every single day, like literally 20 comments a day from 20 different people being, when is Gorn coming out? And it didn't help that Free Lives was horrible at communicating when it was coming out. They kept saying soon, very soon, winter, and then missing winter entirely. And it finally came out on May 19th, thankfully.
To great rejoicing amongst the 12-year-olds.
Yes.
They had a great time that day.
It actually came out. It was seriously 6 straight months of just being harassed, being like, when is Saints and Sinners and Gorn coming out? It was so awful.
I was so happy when it finally came out. I could be like, good, I can play this and see what all the hype is about. And then I played it and I was like, oh, it's
all right.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think we were prepared. I think we had heard all the hype, but no one was prepared for the locomotion system. Like I wasn't prepared for the locomotion system. I was like, what the fuck is this thing? I feel really stupid. It takes so much effort to walk to the guy to hit him.
Right.
And then they, because I guess we're a bunch of whiny assholes, and they hadn't patched it on PC, but for us, they were like, all right, fine.
They listened to them. At least they listened to everybody. It did have a couple bugs, but
yeah, no, I'm glad they fixed the locomotion system. I actually really enjoyed the locomotion system because I kind of used it as a workout game. I would sweat like crazy.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, and I actually had horrible first impressions of it, but then when I finally got around to reviewing it, everything kind of clicked and came together, and I did have a lot of fun with it. it wasn't enough, man. It just needed so much more. Did we give a shout out to the Triangulator yet?
Oh,
I'm not sure.
Shout out to the Triangulator with a $10 donation saying, "You guys are VRAF. Happy New Year. Thank you so much." Right? Appreciate that.
Remember when we met, just like it was yesterday, playing Sirento, giving me tips. So yeah, Gorn is just okay. I'm not the biggest fan.
Oh God, Achilles.
I was really happy that it had a Buster Sword, but everything is made of rubber. That's what really bothers me. I did actually kind of like the gore and stuff in it and the sense of humor, but it was just the only thing that bothered me was how rubbery everything was. I wasn't a big fan of that.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's I have to say, this is the game that launched 1,000 memes. Because within our community, this has been timeless. Just this game existing for the when it's coming out memes. People in chat are like, "Aren't you guys breaking embargo talking about this game?" Like,
still not out.
So many good ways to do it.
I know. I could still. It never gets old for some reason.
There are clickbait for saying that Gorn is out. Yeah.
See.
Nice.
So May 27th, we had Hotel R&R by Wolf and Wood. Much different direction. They previously made the Chair in a Room Greenwater and The Exorcist VR. And this one, they went for like a rock and roll. You basically...
It's dark like the other ones, but not dark like the other ones at all.
You're basically a guitarist who gets electrocuted, and then you go to hell, and then you make a deal with the devil to become rich and famous. And you have to basically destroy and trash different venues, hotel rooms, and then escape before the security comes and stuff. And
so
I am a huge
much more depth than I initially thought, man. I was like, this just looks so silly. Like, what's possible? And then when you first enter the room and you see how much different weapons cost, and like all the stuff you can buy, the game just opens up so much the more you play it.
And then you start getting these objectives where you're like, I don't even know how the fuck I'm gonna do this. So you got to experiment until you figure out, like, how do I burn an entire room? Right. How am I going to do that with the tools that I have available to me? And you have to mix and match and experiment with stuff. Oh God, we lost Brian. I feel weird being on the left side. Am I on the left side? That's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Probably the right.
Oh, you're okay. So what game is next? Because I think is a thumbs up from everybody.
I was surprised. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, definitely a thumbs up for Good Dog. I'm sorry. No. Hotel R&R. Next, June 2nd was unfortunately Good Dog, Bad Dog. My number one worst ranked PSVR game of 2020. What a pile of dog shit this game is. Ugh. What a shitty game.
Yeah, when I played it, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I was $25. What am I looking at here for $25? Like, and the whole loop of the game, I was like, what am I supposed to do? The thing that drove me the craziest was that every female character model has the biggest fucking knockers. And it's weird. He just copied these Unity assets, but he picked the ladies with the most ridiculous looking bodies that he could
on purpose when you look up.
Well, I guess so.
It gives you 15 minutes.
It's a kids game. I guess kids love tits because breastfeeding. But no, it's bad. Terrible. Bad dog.
So,
Brian, what do you think?
Just horrible game. And the audacity of charging $25 is like, there's no excuse for that whatsoever. Like, this is a $5 game at best, and it still sucks as a $5 game.
This is the kind of game you leave a physical copy of flaming in a paper bag on your neighbor's front door. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's a pile of excuse. Yes. June 12th. Let's move on quickly. June 12th. Let's create Pottery VR by Infinite. I never played this.
Entirely. Nobody needs to buy that game.
It's so crazy though, because I played this on a live stream, and the number of people, we had some fucking cool ass cats in the chat that day. I remember Madman and Black, the game cat, being there, being like, "Oh, I've actually played this extensively, and it gets better, and I really enjoy it." And I'm like, so there's like a full-fledged game here, and I personally couldn't get into it, but it was, there is something here for people who kind of enjoy this thing.
He called the shit poop.
Back to that. Fucking your long shadow says supersizing tits and not dongs. Consider your entire audience. Actually, funny enough about Good Dog, Bad Dog, all the women are just like Playboy models, and then all the dudes are the skinniest, wimpiest looking little dude with glasses on you've ever seen. And I feel like the developer has some sort of weird psyche thing with that. I don't know. Anyways,
it shouldn't have been a game. It should have been something that he made for himself.
So Good Dog, Bad Dog's an anime?
Well, no, what I think it's like his little fantasy thing. Like he has some kind of furry fetish, and then like he's a skinny guy who never did well with the ladies, but every lady in the neighborhood is stacked. And so I don't know. It's just like this weird, and they're couples. Like they seem to be couples. I don't know. It just there's some Freudian.
You know what's so funny? What's so funny is that I didn't even notice this. I played the fuck out of this game, and I didn't even notice it. Like we started talking about it on GAMESCAST that week, and I was already reviewed it. I spent like way too many hours with it, and that's like the first thing you said. And I was like, I just spent like 10 hours with this game. I didn't even notice the female character models. It's like, I guess that says a lot about me.
So bad, man. It was literally 15. It gives you 15 minutes to walk around, and you like get walked by your owner. You go dig up a toy or something. You piss and shit, and then the game is over, and you restart and do it again. So freaking stupid. Speaking of stupid. June 21st, we got Coaster by Binary Digital.
Oh my God.
Shit. Hold on, let's just blast through some of these.
We can blast through this, but there's one where they decided, I got to say this, just for posterity.
Hey, say it, man.
And it's quick. So they decided a good idea for a roller coaster in this shitty-ass game would be to put you on a picnic table at ant size, and you're flying around this picnic table. There's no sense of speed or anything, but who decided a picnic table was a good concept for a roller coaster? Like this is just like the worst possible idea you could have thought of.
I hate to say it, I think the picnic table one was my favorite level of the four.
It's entertainingly dumb. You're like, who the fuck even thought this is a good idea? Like, oh, goddamn this phone, get out of here. Yeah, I don't know. It just not a good game at all. Very bad.
Yeah,
very bad.
Absolutely.
Next, June 23rd, we had Pancake House. I didn't play it.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, they launched this game at $30, and it was way overpriced. I mean, it's I don't even know what to say, man.
Johnny Right Pop says Coaster is a JMail game.
Just
mean. Brian, did your review for Pancake House ever hit 10,000 views? Like we bet on?
I think it finally did at some point. Yeah. Yeah.
You said like halfway, guys. Everybody. That's cool. We should review this a little bit.
June 25th, we had Party Pumper, which I also didn't play.
That game's no good.
Oh no, yeah, you'd be like the DJ guy too.
Terrible. I like DJ games like what's that one?
Electronauts.
Yeah, Electronauts kicks ass, but this game is terrible. Very bad.
Even the DJ mode and Blood and Truth is kind of fun to mess around with. Warren Core. We after Party Pumper, we had an interesting one. July 3rd, we finally got Marvel's Iron Man VR after several delays. Originally, supposed to come in December 2019. Ended up getting it this thing, and let me speak for myself here because that wouldn't be fair. I think this game is great. Yes, it has like little things here and there that annoy me. The middle of the game is gets a little bogged down with boringness. But I think it starts off well, and I think it ends pretty strong too. I think the middle of the game is really the only part I didn't like. I do like the end game content as well, and the overall combat was really cool.
Controls. Yeah, I mean, there's some great like set pieces in this game. The whole ghost hunt where you're going through the canyon and you're chasing her down and stuff. Like as a villain, she was really fun to fight against. She was great. And like I feel like the in-game story stuff played out a lot better than the in-between game story stuff where you're just like walking around your house talking to people, and I don't know. It kills the momentum in a certain way, especially with the loading times on PS4. But it is a solid game that is it's a lot of fun to play. Once you get the hang of it and the flying and the combat and stuff, there's a lot of good stuff in here. So I would definitely say this deserves to be up there with the top 5 or 10 games of this year.
Yeah, it was a tough one because the loading times got in the way of everything at launch.
Yeah, it kills your whole shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like it's loading things that you don't even want to do, right? So it's like all these story parts where you're where you're playing as Tony Stark with teleportation, like
Oh god, that was the worst. Yeah.
right with click turning and teleportation, it with like these long drawn out story segments where it's like you're just listening to these people talk at you for like minutes at a time, and it's just like the game is very very unbalanced as far as that's concerned because you're having this great, I mean, for me at least, I know there's a lot of people who like don't even like the actual fun parts of the game where you're flying around, but I love flying around as Iron Man and shooting stuff down. I thought the controls were actually really innovative and they worked really well, and it was a lot of fun even if it kind of boiled down to being a wave shooter. All the extra stuff felt like a developer who was trying to hide the fact that they made a wave shooter, and we're like, just let's bog it down with tons of story and like almost quick time events for you to do during these other action scenes. And it was
I give so much props to this game though because of the way the visceral combat was designed and the way it controls. I mean, like again, I think I mentioned this before, but sticking your arms out and then pointing your wrist down to like have missiles pop out of your wrists and stuff.
Feels great.
That is impressive. That is super impressive. Doing the unibeam, like doing the stance and then pressing the buttons and having the giant laser out of your chest. There are, I can forgive a lot of the little grievances I had with this game because of just some of the overall things that they did execute really well.
They should make the resolution on that one that one level because that was just egregious.
They need to fix the frame rate. They need to fix the frame rate. They need to fix the resolution. Yeah. The loading times could still use some work, but they did give us a huge update where they actually fixed the loading times, not fixed, but improved the loading times. And gave us more decos to unlock and gave us more just gave us more to do in the game. Right?
Love the outfits, the customization. That's what I'm saying. The missiles, all the different weapons and stuff. They've added more of those too since then. I like how Braxton B says Endgame. Pun intended? No pun intended. But I will say Avengers Infinity War, probably the best Avengers movie, period. One of the best Marvel movies, period.
Anyway, Iron Man ended up being very, very mixed as far as people's reactions to it. Killed it at the award show. You guys voted for it over and over and over. Like, I mean, with such huge margins. Obviously tons of people out there love it, and I'm not going to object.
I liked it for narrative. I like the award for narrative that it got. I thought that was
well deserved.
It was interesting because that was one where people like in the chat were like, "What? Iron Man got it? What the?" But it's like you guys
were the ones.
Like, I don't know what you mean. Like,
anyway, let's move on though. We want to make sure we get to all these games before we're done here.
Yes, we do, don't we?
And we got to...
So after Marvel's Iron Man VR, we got Dance Collider, July 9th.
Just underwhelming, man. So many rhythm games on PSVR, and this just was like underwhelming. So
many good ones, too.
I don't think it's underwhelming in so much as it just blends in with a lot of other stuff. There were things about this game that I actually really liked. Every character you play against, it's almost like a fighting game setup, like where they all have different styles of music, and they, you see a different avatar up there doing dance moves and stuff. And there is something cool about seeing the avatar doing the stuff as you're doing it that I liked. And it's got a cool vibe, I guess. Like I like the vibe of it, but it's not a great game. It's a filler game, I guess. If you're really into rhythm games and you're taking a break from Beat Saber and you've played, I don't know, everything.
And you like rhythm games that don't follow the rhythm. Maybe this one could do.
Oh, I guess that was. No.
Yeah, that was the big thing that killed
the game. Back at the time machine. You're right. Never mind. I take it back.
It has a good first impression, and it has it has its moments. But when you play the overall game, like if you try to play more than just a couple minutes, you start to see some of the problems get exposed one after another, and it gets worse and worse. So
I guess I agree with you guys now. I take back what I said. When you said that to me, I did remember griping about it not being on time, and that is sort of like the one thing that a rhythm game needs to do. Beyond on the rhythm.
On the rhythm, July 14th, however, things picked back up with Crisis Brigade 2.
Oh yeah, Tony Montana.
I'm a big fan of this game.
Yeah, no, I mean Crisis Brigade 1 we loved, and the price was right. I mean, this developer outside of Trainer VR been a pretty solid developer. And Crisis Brigade 2, I think, just takes the same concept, ups the graphical level, gives you upgrades, pretty much just more of the same but better. Although still no multiplayer. Summer 2021 has come, or summer 2020 has come and passed.
Yeah, right.
I thought by now, it's like Q1.
At least we know it's coming. Like, these are guys that we trust and have the last update that we got for the game, like prepped the game for multiplayer, and we know it's coming very, very soon, along with Beat Saber multiplayer, which we don't even need to talk about.
What's the date on that again, by the way? Remind
they
me.
said if everything goes well, January 2021.
Just in January.
Yeah. Everything goes as expected, which means nothing ever goes as expected. So
if it's January 20th, I'm gonna fucking drive to their offices.
That'd be ridiculous. So
Issue a complaint.
I do have a feeling it'll be right around then, though, because I feel like Sony's offices and stuff, like all the stuff they schedule, doesn't even really start up until like late January anyway. So I feel like it's all going to happen right around the same time.
Yeah. You can't release a game on like the 3rd of January.
Silent Evil says waiting on a sale for this.
Yeah,
no brainer.
Understandable. I hope they add content to this, because it does feel, whereas like $20, you're like, I don't know, I could use a couple more levels here. And of course the multiplayer patch. So
yeah.
But
moving on to, in my opinion, the second biggest thing, even arguably the first biggest thing to happen this year, July 22nd, we got the Dreams PSVR patch. If I had a poster for Dreams, I'd put it right here next to the Saints and Sinner ones, because wow, I mean, I really think Dreams is something incredibly special. Being able to, I was a fan of Little Big Planet, and I thought it was really cool, but I wasn't happy with being limited to the tools that they were giving me to make games. It was like I could make more Little Big Planet games. This is like they just took the concept of the tool creation, the game creation, and they let you do anything you can think of, and then they let you also make any VR game you want, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still, we're basically still in the same generation where PSVR first existed. We're in Generation 1, Gen 1 PSVR. And, like that seemed like it was sort of already a little bit amazing, like too amazing to believe. Like it's running on the OG PS4. We're like, holy shit, how is this even working on this outdated console, right?
Well, it doesn't run too well on an OG, but
PSVR works amazing on the OG. That's where I first played all my PSVR games. I'm not even there yet. And
sorry, I must have missed something.
I played RE7 on the OG PS4 in VR, and was like, this is amazing. It's beautiful. It's incredible. In the fact that like in the same generation, we not only got a game that would play user-created VR games, but would allow us to create those user-created VR games ourselves. Like, just unbelievable that there's a system in place to allow us to do that. It doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't be possible. And it does, and it does it really fucking well. And the number of awesome Dreams creators out there just make the whole experience even better. Like, if it was just a bunch of talentless fucks out there, would be like, oh, this is interesting. I'm going to run around the same square room and shoot, like, the same block over and over. But, man, there's so many talented people out there making, like, practically full-fledged games. It's unbelievable.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate. I love Dreams, but earlier Nick Howe in the chat said, and this is the one I was trying to get him to tip with a comment so we could talk about it, because he had said it, and I was like, I want to answer that question. I want to talk about that. But he said, basically, he posed this to us, and he said, if Luge from VR Dreams, or no, for VR Worlds, was in Dreams, people would consider it one of the best Dreams games. But on VR Worlds, people consider it the least good game. And I think that that's a kind of complaint that a lot of people have. And he's saying here, again, I still don't see it with Dreams. And I really understand that perspective, because people will see stuff like, they'll play a game and it's like, well, this feels like a little tiny thing. And people have expectations when they buy a game, right? Like, when you say something is like a full game and people go in there and they browse around and stuff, their first impression is going to be, I don't see anything like a full game in here.
Right.
This stuff is all like half-baked little projects. And so if you come into it with the perspective of A, this is a tool that I can use to build things, and also B, if you don't want to do that, this is sort of like a surfing, they call it surfing, but just surfing through all kinds of ideas and different people's artistic expression. And you see all these different styles of games and experiences and stuff. But there is always going to be somebody, I think, who says, well, like, even the best game that they've got in Dreams isn't up there with the worst game on PSVR Worlds. And I think it's a matter of like the breadth and depth of creativity, not so much like the scope of the works that are created in it. You know what I mean? Like Dreams isn't made for somebody to make Skyrim in. You're not going to get that out of it. Like it's never going to be that for you. But if you like the idea of like a tasting of all these different sorts of things from different creators, it's incredible. But I don't know, just that idea. What do you guys think about that idea that like
I don't agree at all.
You don't think if Luge was made in Dreams, it would be one of the
it's interesting you're saying you're taking this collection of pretty highly polished games and saying the worst one of these is like, well,
Luge sucks.
But
Luge sucks.
Luge does suck, but I think that if somebody made it in Dreams, they would have made it better.
This is where I can't even start this conversation because I love Luge. I freaking love that game.
Luge?
I feel like they would have.
Lamp. What do you love Luge?
No, I love Luge. I play it on Saturday Night live streams like all the time. Yeah, and I freaking love that game. I think it's super underappreciated. If anything, I'd say like the Pong is probably my least favorite. The Pong, Pong with your face or whatever.
But I mean, why are we talking about VR Worlds? It's like what's like think about the games we paid $25 for, like Good Dog, Bad Dog. Let's talk about the bad games on the PlayStation Store, right?
Well,
forget about one that was included.
Hold on, stop you real quick. The reason we're talking about VR Dreams is because I thought it was, or VR Worlds. I keep saying that is because somebody in the chat brought up an interesting kind of parallel.
And I think so many games. Yeah, I think so many games in Dreams are way better than Luge. Way better than Luge. Look better, play better, feel better. So yeah,
Luge, take away Luge. Like I have played so many VR games where I'm like, I can do this better in Dreams, or I've played something better than this in Dreams. So on the contrary, you make this one comparison. I think that's a weird, just to point out that one comparison.
Somebody in the chat made it.
Somebody in the chat made it, but I'm just saying that one comparison I think is weird because it is a AAA studio making it. But that aside, like, yeah, you look at all the stuff that, I mean, Good Dog, Bad Dog is $25, and literally half the creations you play in most of anything you play in Dreams is better than that game. And
that's a matter of inspiration. I mean, the guy who made Good Dog, Bad Dog, like, what the fuck is that?
I have, if I wanted to, I could make the thing is like, yeah, it relies a lot on people making the games, and I think that's hard to do because myself, I've dedicated a lot of time to making stuff, but I still, to make like a super polished, high quality game would take a lot of time and stuff. But I could technically do it if I wanted to. And I think about it all the time about making a full-fledged game. And that's what makes Dreams special, is that if I wanted to, I absolutely could.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, it just like, I don't know.
And some of the experiences I've already had. I mean, like the Resident Evil 7, the driving, the racing games, so like better than some of the racing games we've gotten. Yeah. And when Dreams came out flat, it was kind of a similar thing where there wasn't a lot of stuff for it just yet. And then like a year later, I'm playing what feels like AAA game after AAA game after AAA game. And I think with VR, I wouldn't expect to be that fast, but I think eventually it will have a ton of like much bigger games. You can literally create endless connection of levels to just keep going and keep going. You can create a menu. You can create like different looting systems and stuff. It just needs time to have people make stuff for it, and it relies on that, which I think holds it back a little bit.
Yeah.
But other than that, like it's so revolutionary to me. It's like nothing I've ever seen before, ever.
And the comparison to me is crazy because it's like if you're buying VR Worlds and you're like, oh, let's look at the worst game on this and compare it. It's like for the same price at launch. Don't forget, Worlds was $40 at launch too. You buy Dreams and you get hundreds of games better than Luge. Like hundreds.
Infinite.
Right? I mean, so many games better than Luge for the exact same price. If that's how you want to compare like apples to apples, you're like, forget about the dream.
Nick in the chat.
Talking to anybody. Yeah, I'm talking to anybody who wants to compare it this way.
Yeah.
It's. I didn't say that myself. I was just posing a question.
Yeah, for me, I don't even see the comparison, because it's just there's unlimited potential with Dreams, and you're buying something like VR Worlds, and it's like there is no potential there. It is like you get what you get and have fun, or don't, or move on. It's like Dreams, you spend $40 or $20, it's on sale right now, and you can play this thing forever. You can create forever. This is like an artist's dream come true. This is a game creator's dream come true. And to be able to make VR games current gen is like, again, insane. So I'm never gonna like see eye to eye with people who don't understand that and don't get on the same level as like, holy shit, the potential that this thing has is just bananas. Like out of this fucking world.
Rec Room as well started out.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Sorry, Rec Room as well started out in a similar way, where Rec Room was like, the difference is Rec Room had more against gravity created content, like the quests and stuff. And I think that's what Dreams is missing. Is it's missing some things here and there to really keep people invested, and it's missing multiplayer right now. I think once you get multiplayer in it as well, it's gonna, like, just the roadmap for this game, even that is going to be huge, because it's going to be capable, if they execute it properly, it's going to be like Rec Room on steroids, because people are just going to have so much fun just jumping in and socializing in VR with their different avatars, with their different worlds that they build, that it's going to be something crazy. It just needs time. I'm cool with any criticisms right now on Dreams, or people are not completely satisfied with it yet, but that's going to change in time.
I still can't understand that. I still can't understand that. You don't like the creations in Dreams. Dreams gives you the opportunity to make the coolest things in Dreams.
Well, not everybody knows how to do it. Right?
Yeah, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it.
I know
you haven't done it yet, and you haven't made anything.
Exactly, and I'm still on the side of the fucking creators, where it's like every single person out there can make something. It's like
But Brian, that's like saying, if you don't like my band, why don't you learn how to play an instrument well enough to be in a band? That's exactly what you just said. That's literally what you just said.
Literally saying there's a million bands on the face of the planet. Go listen to something else. But in Dreams,
sure,
endless bands. You don't need to go buy a new album. Go try something else.
Oh,
I'll say something eventually instead of just.
I think Dreams is revolutionary. It's special, but I think it does require some time to really blossom into and then people will know. Everybody will understand later on down the line once it gets enough time.
That's what I've been trying to squeeze in for like 5 minutes during this whole ranting thing, is that this is the kind of thing where I want to see, like, at a console generation, the end of the console generation is where you see the best, most fruitful experiences on the thing. And so I feel like in 3 or 4 years, we are going to see some crazy shit on Dreams PS5 in VR, on PSVR 2.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be
I already have.
Really cool
I've already started to, because it has dynamic resolution and dynamic frame rate and stuff.
They future-proofed it. They basically future-proofed it.
They did.
And so, like, I wasn't trying to incite this, like, fiery, argument. All I was saying was this guy had this concept. I figured we'd play devil's advocate and throw it out there.
I like having the conversation, for sure.
I think we needed one fiery argument.
I guess so. Yeah,
I like having.
But I felt like I was getting argued with just because.
I'm not yelling at you.
If you're going to be the guy playing devil's advocate to start the conversation, where are we going to direct our conversation to, Dave?
To Nick Howe in the chat. He said it.
God damn it, Nick! You're going to burn this place to the ground, Nick.
The power of Dreams compels you.
This is going properly off the rails, guys.
Nick, thank you for. Yeah, thank you for throwing a wrench in the works. We appreciate. I love hearing alternate viewpoints. I love hearing, I'm obviously very stubborn in the way I think about things. Like, but that's everything. We all love what we love, and like sometimes it's hard to look outside of like the things that you love and see someone else's perspective. So occasionally, someone needs to play devil's advocate around here and make me look at something a different way. I still don't agree with you, but thank you for trying.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Ooh, how close are we to the end?
debate.
We got like only 2 or 3 more hours, man. Well, we're almost there.
Oh my god. You're right. No, you're actually. That's true. Oh, that's true. We haven't. Hold on.
No, we're so close. We're so close,
dude.
There are at least 6 giant games.
Yeah, we're so close.
Maybe 7 that we haven't discussed.
Doing that, Dave, is only going to make it take longer.
You know that this doesn't matter because the amount of games is what's going to matter.
All right, we'll skip the DLC.
I give you 10 seconds of commentary. Just move on. Go on.
Okay, we'll skip the DLC.
Next up, let's just fucking move. Next
August 25th.
No, dude, you just missed July 30th. July 30th.
July 30th.
Only 8 days after the PSVR patch, we got Pistol Whip. Man,
we were drowning in VR games at this point. This is like, this shows you how really good this year was. just in full gear by this point. We were getting games after games after games, and this was crazy. Pistol Whip, man.
Pistol Whip.
Pistol.
Oh, yeah, I mean, this is some people's game of the year. I mean, so this is huge. This is absolutely huge. You know, this reigns over Beat Saber for some people. You know, I know the action movie fans love this game. There's no denying, man. Like this is a super addictive game. Great workout.
It's not as good as an action movie as like Blood and Truth, but it is a good action movie inspired rhythm game, I should say. And it's physical as hell. I can't wait for the 2089 update. The gameplay, this game is all about the gameplay. I've never been crazy about the graphics or the art design or anything like that, but I love the freaking gameplay of this game, and that is good enough for me. The gameplay and the music, awesome.
Yeah, my favorite thing about games is the gameplay. Usually, it's a good one.
Nice. See, nice and easy, man. This was
right.
An easy one to cover. No problem here.
So, August 25th. Can I skip the DLC, or you want the DLC?
Just throw the DLC.
We
in,
don't
man.
need the DLC. Yeah.
All right. August 17th, we got Beat Saber, Linkin Park DLC. Finally, some. They're so bad at doing some things sometimes, but I forgive them because this was, in fact, probably one of the best, if not the best, DLC pack besides Monster Cat, in my opinion. Monster Cat 1.
Yeah, it's my favorite currently. I think I really like it.
This one had
heavy,
added a nice new background that was wildly different than the rest of the backgrounds that we had seen. Like I feel like they really stepped up their game with this one. The mapping was fantastic. Like I don't know if we got any other Beat Saber DLC. That's the only one I included on the list because it was the only significant one.
BTS we got.
That's right. I didn't even include it on
that
the
was
list.
The biggest pack that we've had so far. It wasn't that good, but I will say this to me is a step in the right direction for Beat Saber packs from big artists, because unlike Green Day, they actually went back to the back catalog,
right? The songs
and took songs that people actually know and love, and the reason the band got popular.
For sure.
And so for me, as a kid growing up listening to Linkin Park, I can hear those songs and play those songs in Beat Saber, and that is something big, because Green Day I grew up listening to, but there's not a song off of Dookie or I can't play Brain Stew, it doesn't have the stuff you want it to have, and so it's disappointing. And so I think that hopefully they continue down that path of including the full range of an artist's work and actually giving you the shit that you want to play. Panic at the Disco was the same way too, right, Brian? Like they didn't have any of the classic songs. It was
like nothing off the first 2 albums, and those are my favorites. It sucks, and I really hope they take these deep dives from now on and give us 12 songs minimum, and stuff that like the real fans want to hear. Although you could argue that the real fans like the new stuff too.
Yeah. All right. So I am excited about their metal pack, hardcore pack coming up, whatever. Yeah. But it's not like real metal. It's more like Linkin Park stuff. So
it's what Yaroslav Beck thinks is metal.
Yes, it's the best. Well, it's his best attempt at metal, and I'm okay with that.
It's what an EDM DJ.
It sounds more metal, like maybe FDM or something, like some Mortal Kombat music. But all right. So August 25th, we got Vader Immortal, a Star Wars series. Easily can sum up this game for me. Great experience, cool story, great graphics. The Dojo 3 is awesome, where you get to kind of wield a lightsaber and vroom, vroom. But still, in my opinion, one of the most embarrassing ports that we've ever gotten and I think ILMX Lab or whatever they're called.
What's embarrassing about the port?
This port and the way they
hands were funky.
The hands were funky.
Really
swap around, and the game like crashed a bunch or like froze. Teleport, click turn only.
Well, that's how the game is.
There were
that's not like a port thing. That's how the game is.
There were audio issues that like it was just the audio would cut out and buzz.
Oh, the audio was okay. You're right.
Times.
Yeah, that port.
Yeah.
Well, but the game didn't run that well on Quest. So you guys didn't have a Quest at this point, or you hadn't played it on Quest, but it didn't play that well on Quest either. I mean, there were issues there too. It did have sections like that where the audio was all fucked up and the game was glitching out and stuff. So it might not be a port. It might just be the game isn't that well made, to be honest.
Yeah, I think really cool experience, cool Star Wars story and stuff. But I think the port was just really badly done.
Yeah, I do think all three of the dojos are fun in different ways. It's cool. Like when you play the first one, you play that first dojo, you're like, oh, I love this concept. And by the time you've played chapter 3 and you're in the third dojo, you start feeling like, oh, this is the coolest dojo, because you've had that journey from 1 to 2 to 3 and you keep getting new mechanics and new abilities as you go, which is cool. Each dojo is entirely different.
I'm sorry.
What?
Entirely different?
Yeah, they have different environments. They have different enemies. They have different abilities. You can't do certain things in the first dojo that you can do in the third one.
Right.
Just Incredible says the Tales from Galaxy's Edge doesn't have lightsabers. What the hell is that?
Well, no, because you're not a... No, you're supposed to be like a bounty hunter. No, you're a bounty hunter. You wouldn't have a lightsaber. Like the Mandalorian doesn't use a lightsaber. Like, why would he use a lightsaber?
Well, I don't know anything about the story, but anyways.
Well, yeah, but anybody who's not a Jedi doesn't use a lightsaber. That's everybody knows that about Star Wars, right?
Well, I didn't know you weren't a Jedi in Tales from Galaxy's Edge. Eve?
Oh, okay.
God.
One of the things that bothered me most about this port was that it was brought to us as a bundle, saying for the first time ever bundled together into one blah blah blah, and then you download it and it's 3 separate tiles on your PlayStation 4. They don't connect at all, they don't interact with each other at all, and so basically you finish one and then you have to quit out of it, start up the next one. It was like they had this chance to make one cohesive game where it's like the story continued chapter to chapter. Maybe it's maybe it lets you know this was the end of chapter 1 and then it goes right into chapter 2, kind of gives you that feeling where it's like this cohesive experience, and then allow you to kind of like jump from dojo to dojo. It was this huge missed opportunity to like take advantage of the fact that this was the first time these games were bundled together, and it was like we're getting them all at once and we're experiencing them all at once for the first time. And instead it was as if we had to wait months between each release and just boom boom boom, here you go. Here's 3 tiles. No platinum. Fuck you, ILMX Lab. You really fucked this one up.
Because of the platinum?
Dude, so many things. Like all the problems that we already talked about that makes it feel like a crappy port. There's full locomotion on in the Quest versions for at least the second and third one. I mean, it's just janky. It's like we only got teleportation for the entire thing. It's like so
that part is.
I think you're underselling it. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're gonna like this thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing.
If you're into Star Wars, you're gonna enjoy this. You're gonna have a good time with it.
As much as I bitch about this game, and I think I have very valid points, and I do think that there's a horrible port. I still really like this game.
Right?
Absolutely,
yeah, good time. Right?
I did.
I had fun too.
I'm angry about these things, but for some reason, I still really like this game.
I get angrier about them the longer this goes on, because how is this shit still not fixed?
I'm giving up.
They're not going to patch it. Don't expect them to patch it.
I don't expect anything now. It's been months.
Is that it's a top 10 seller on the PSN downloads every single month?
Of course it is. It's got fucking in sales. It's Star Wars. What do you expect? Yeah, of course.
And they still haven't given it any respect or love. It's so dumb.
I want to take a note out of Genetic Blasphemy's book here, who says on to the next game.
September 15th, we got Operencia, the Stolen Sun PSVR patch. I probably am much more of a fan of this game than you guys. I know it only uses DualShock. I know it has like some weird scaling issues, and is that a word? Scaling issues?
Scaling issues. Things were scaled improperly. Like the room compared to the barrel, compared to the monsters, nothing made sense. It was all all over the place.
It was definitely all over the place. That being said, this is a full-length game at 30 hours. Amazing strategy game that just was an assault on my brain the entire time. And I freaking love this game. So much depth and variety and tons of strategy, just constantly making you rethink your steps and stuff. I freaking love this game to death. Loved it. Loved it.
I had good initial impressions. It didn't keep me hooked for too long because I thought that the combat was a little bland. Mm-hmm. And I didn't feel initially much of a challenge. And I felt like it was very by the numbers, turn-based RPG stuff. And while I liked some of the environments, the scaling was pretty weird. It kind of took me out of it. And the grid-based movement didn't feel as nice as I would have liked it to. It's just one of those things where I feel like it's cool that it's in VR, but some of the stuff about it didn't feel VR as fuck. It felt sort of the opposite. It's like they did what they could with this game, but it's not really the most immersive thing. Or probably, I would say, I would probably have played more of it flat. I think.
I ended up playing more of it flat.
It's not a bad game. It's not a bad game by any means. I just think that it's not the best VR game.
Where I disagree is like I actually got I liked it at first, but 2 hours in I got really bored of it previewing it flat. And then in VR, like I spent the next 28 hours playing the game just nonstop. Played this game for like a week straight after work every single day. Professor Lilithalta says, okay, best Hungarian themed JRPG. Well, RPG.
JRPG, she says.
Best Hungarian themed JRPG on PSVR.
That's an important. Yeah,
you guys got nothing on that.
Yeah,
you can't disagree with that.
Yep. No, I like challenge to be in gameplay. I don't like challenge to be in stat distribution. And that's what I feel like this game really. It was easy until it wasn't, and then it wasn't fun once it got hard. Because the way it made the game hard were things I wasn't interested in. You're gonna know if you like dungeon crawlers, then you're going to like this game because that's kind of what those things are about. And so you just have to kind of know if this is for you or not, and then move on.
It's very old school. I mean, it's like for some people, this will be a nostalgia trip, I think. Even though they never played anything like this back then, but
all right.
You know what I mean?
Let's go ahead and just keep moving, I guess.
Yeah, let's keep moving.
So September 22nd, we got the Minecraft PSVR patch, and everybody
it's Minecraft in VR.
Yeah, but then they were mad that it didn't have move support, so then nobody cared after.
Well, it also makes me nauseous, dude. There's something about the way they implemented it. It doesn't run, and I'm not the only person. It's not just me thing. Other people have said I get a headache pretty quickly playing Minecraft. I don't know what it is about the way that they implemented it on PSVR. I'm curious if anybody in chat has the same issue. Like, I cannot play Minecraft PSVR for more than a good 30 or 45 minutes without tapping out.
12-hour live stream.
Sickness, really. No, not motion sickness. Like a headache, and it made me nauseous. Not motion sickness, but
we generally attribute headaches, even if it doesn't make you nauseous, to motion sickness. Like it's a form of motion sickness. Even if you don't feel like you want to throw up, we kind of lump it all together.
It's happened to me consistently. It wasn't like I felt off one day, because that's happened to me. Like
it's like every time you play it is what you mean.
It's every time that I play it. Yeah, it's pretty much every time. So I'm not sure what it is about it. Nick's saying he gets headaches too. Yeah,
try it on PS5, man. I'm curious because it really on PS5 it runs way smoother. And I'd like to see if that's the issue. If there's some frame rate problem that's not readily apparent. It's
I think it's one of those things that probably if you put the time in to get over it, like Justin's saying, he kind of got over it. He put 8 to 10 hours at once. Like in Borderlands 2, the screen shake thing that people talk about that makes them kind of get a headache or whatever. You don't notice it if you've been playing for 6 hours because your mind just sort of turns it off after a while. But I wasn't able to get into Minecraft enough to keep playing it for 6 hours to get to that point where it didn't bother me anymore, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's Minecraft. So what are you going to say? It's a good game. Everybody loves Minecraft. It's in VR. You can play with your friends. Yeah, and they have realms now, which is cool, like permanently existing worlds that you can go with your friends and build. So there is a lot of cool stuff in here. I don't mean to write it off by saying that it gives me a headache, but it does. So
yeah, I mean,
it's not really for me, but I still enjoy it overall. I try it I need to play more, and then I'll have a full opinion on it. But it's definitely not something that is totally my style. But I don't know. I've had I really like the multiplayer and kind of exploring the different creations and stuff overall. But you guys ready for the next game?
Let's do it.
Yes, indeed.
September.
Streaming. think we're probably back.
The buffer beast strikes again. All right. So, but O-Shape came out. It's like a rhythm game where you do kind of based off that Japanese TV show where you have to like, you know, put your body in different shapes and stuff. I know a couple people really loved this game, like Shenmue and stuff, but overall, I thought it was just okay. I like the concept. The way this game loses me is the music, the soundtrack. I really a lot of these games on this are like those free, you know, like how a lot of VR games use like free music.
Yep, like
And
royalty free music.
Yeah, and I think a rhythm game should not use royalty free music. I think a rhythm game needs to, if anything, really focus on the soundtrack. I think they'd be able to get away with a lot more. I really wish like Dance Collider or something had that music in this game because the music is just not good.
Yeah, so I care less about this game than I wanted to. I thought that this was going to be a lot of fun, and I'll tell you what the problem is. I didn't get a chance to spend as much time with it as I wanted to because this was at this point, this was sort of a race for me to like. I'm like basically screaming at developers at this point, being like, guys, send me review keys as early as you can because this is the week from fucking hell. Like
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about all these games at the same time. Let's talk about all these games in a group because that's how this week happened. On the 22nd, we got the Minecraft patch on the 22nd. Then on the 24th we got O-Shape. On the 25th, the following day, we got budget cuts. The 25th, the same day as budget cuts, we got Swordsman VR. On the 29th, we got The Walking Dead Onslaught, and then also on the same day as Onslaught, we got Until You Fall. I mean, this was the craziest week. Right,
Sony has done this to us before, though. Like there have been previous years where they're just like, "Hey,
Firewall.
here's fucking 5 games in a week." Like
Firewall, Transpose, Catch and Release.
Yeah, dude,
and like something else.
Dude, but I mean, like, but then you follow it up on October 2nd with Star Wars Squadrons, and so we're literally saying within the course of like 9 days, we not only did we get like a AAA game, and like a single A game, and like another. It's just like all of these games that people are like super excited for. It was. I don't think in the history of PSVR we'd ever gotten this many games that people cared about. Like, I mean, these are mostly O-Shape is probably the weakest of the group, and it's O-Shape, budget cuts, Minecraft patch, Swordsman VR, Walking Dead Onslaught, Until You Fall, Star Wars Squadrons, all in the same like 8-day span of time, if I got my math right. Like that is, it's like unfair to the developers because they're cannibalizing each other's sales. It's unfair to the gamers because they don't have time to like even like time or money to spend on any of this. I felt like it was unfair to me personally. I'm like, how am I going to review all this shit, right?
Well, I think it's unfair to the format of the show too, because like we've spent all this time talking about like vast stretches of terrible games, and then like a third of the best games of the year are like in this week. Right. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy. Right. So I don't know. They really kind of lumped it all in September for us, but I would have liked to see a few of those spread out just for the purposes of this show, so we could have talked about more good games at a more reasonable pace instead of all of them right now. But yeah, Swordsman VR is incredible. Not incredible, but great.
I think VR is actually somewhat incredible.
The reason I say incredible is because the story of Sin Studio, like the fact that they came from a developer that we didn't like at all, and openly talked shit about, to being like one of our favorite new games and keeping new content coming like weekly, daily, or patches and stuff like that. Like a lot of stuff. Good work on that.
One thing I love about Swordsman is I feel like it actually might do physics, like sword fighting physics and mechanics better than any other VR game that exists.
Well, it's that's what it's going for. I think that like hard physics kind of,
right. I was talking about now and stuff like we can go into this game and just battle, and like that is the game. Is like you just go in and fight and have fun, and the gameplay again, another game where the gameplay is so much fun. It really goes a long way, and these for a team of like 1-2 people max to have some of the best physics in a VR game. For like sword fighting and stuff, I think is really impressive. That's why I say it's kind of incredible. And I love the look of it. I love the style of it. The support, like you mentioned, excellent, fantastic.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. I think this was, Swordsman was the story we wanted to be telling about Sin Studio. We didn't want to be saying, "Here we go again,"
after Warzone, I didn't think we'd see anything positive. I didn't think we'd say anything positive after Warzone. That was really, Alec Sin. We love you now, man, but Warzone, you shouldn't have released. You should never have released that fucking thing. Although I guess it funded Swordsman. So.
He took off the store, so.
Yeah.
What you okay? We were talking about O-Shape, and then we bundled up a lot of things. I guess budget cuts I thought was okay, like actually really good, but I didn't like that it was $30. I wish it was $20 and then would like go on sale. But it is overall very polished. The Walking Dead Onslaught, I hated at launch. I really, really, really hated The Walking Dead Onslaught.
I was just disappointed.
I hated it so much. Yeah. I didn't like anything about it. Then they fixed the combat to some degree. Still not as good as some other games, but the combat was a little bit better.
Yeah, I think I was kind of out on an island by myself. Like, it seemed like the whole internet hated Onslaught. And I was like, yeah, it's got some major problems, and like let's point out all these problems to people as fast as possible. We did a whole viewer takeover about it. I did a whole live stream of the game about the problems that Onslaught had. But still, at the end of the day, I was like, it's like still fun for a certain amount of time. And but it was tough to really recommend, because it's like, oh man, why the story is so boring, because they were like they must have been so shackled by having to call it canonical with the TV series. It's like, well, we can only tell this little story that doesn't go anywhere.
Hold on, like, you're never shackled by telling something canonical if you've got a good imagination. No. If you've got a good imagination,
you're shackled by AMC.
No, but hold on, they could have done something much more interesting with this than what they did. And also the fact that they had the most interesting part of the game happening like right as it ends, when you're like, it's over.
Right.
That's the thing. And so I really think that, there have been so many good stories told. Like, I used to read the comics, the Walking Dead comics. There are so many things you can do with the franchise. And, like, a good writing team could have done something better. It's not that they were just shackled by being canonical. Like, there are good Star Wars movies that are shackled by being canonical. So I don't know.
But there's limitations though. Like when you're making a game and you have to basically get everything approved. We've heard horror stories for the last 40 years about licensed video games, and about how having to be like, okay, well, we wrote this amazing story. And they're like, well, I'm sorry, you can't do that to the character. You can't have this happen. You can't do this. You're limited to every single turn. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to defend Servios by any stretch of the imagination. They release what they release, and like that's the end of the story. But the fact is like, maybe, I would love to hear the real story about what happened to this game.
Here's another thing that I think is part of the real story. Can you point to me a Servios game that had a narrative that was deep and well written and complex anywhere prior to this game? Not that they did it with this game.
Data. I thought Raw Data was really
Raw Data had a pretty good story.
But Raw Data is told to you in little snippets over a robot guy. Like, it's not like you're
and somehow it was still better than Onslaught.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But like, they're not a studio that I look to for narrative. I don't want to say competence, but like excellence, narrative excellence.
Yeah.
And I think it was just narrative competence. Really, is what we saw in this game. It's okay. It gets the job done. But you're not going to be excited as a Walking Dead fan. Nothing is really going to... Like, you'll see the characters and be like, oh, hey, there's Michonne. Oh, that doesn't sound like Michonne. Oh, I don't get to hang out with Michonne in a multiplayer way? Okay. All right, well... Yeah. I think they really missed the boat with taking the multiplayer out, because that would have redeemed this entire game for me. Like, if this was a 4-player game,
way more fun.
This would be so much more fun. Yeah, just absolutely. Like how Raw Data, when you play multiplayer, is like significantly more fun than what we got on PSVR. Really, there is that aspect of it is really fun. It's really cool, and it's just not there. So, I
want to give a shout out to Future Scott Jessico, PSN Harry Fellow, the PSVR Game Cap for life with the $4.99 pound donation, quid donation, saying, glad you're okay, glad you're all okay. Watch when I get home. Big up all the key workers around the world.
Big up.
Big up all the key workers around the world. Meow. Sorry, I'm like still trying to having difficulties reading. Meow. Thank you so much, future Scott Jestigo. I hope you don't work too hard and you come home and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Any other game in this bunch that we need to talk about?
Yes. Hold on. Let me. Well,
Definitely.
yeah, of course. But I don't. There's a few of these that I didn't really get a say on yet. I think.
I think we need to talk about Until You Fall, guys. Until You Fall.
Oh, then go do that then.
Fucking incredible.
Am I on mute? No, I guess I'm not on mute.
You're not on mute. Until You Fall is fucking incredible, guys. If my review, if the numbers on my review says anything about the attention this game actually got on the PlayStation Store, then I'm scared for this game because like no one's really watched this review, and I don't know if it's the art style or the music or what the turnoff is about this game.
Wait, hold on. The art style and the music are the best, like some of the best parts of the game. What do you like? That's the meat of what makes it like not just a cool combat game. Like the style on display here is a huge part of the package. Just like I Expect You to Die, like that intro. If you weren't sold after the intro of I Expect You to Die, they have so much like the art design and the style on display with Shell Games is off the charts, and they brought it with this game too. Yeah, very, very good.
Yeah, so I don't know what the turnoff was for a lot of people. Why no one even like bothered like looking into it. But man,
because everybody
maybe
wanted
they already knew it
Sorcery.
was cool.
Maybe
no, it's because everybody wanted Blade and Sorcery, and that
Swordsman
came out. Yeah,
right.
The timing competition has a little bit to $5 more than Swordsman and Gorn, and it's like another one of those in a way that like another Melee. Not
No,
like
it's entirely different. 1,000%.
It is, but I don't know. I don't think people. I think it's more of a niche kind of thing. It's sword fighting. It's fantasy.
No. Roguelikes are not niche anymore. This is a roguelike, and so Shell Games sold a shitload of copies of I Expect You to Die. I guarantee.
I think a roguelike sword fighting game is kind of niche. Otherwise,
what are you talking about? Dead Cells is a roguelike sword fighting game.
In VR.
Hades is a roguelike sword fighting game.
Fantasy. I'm saying fantasy like style.
I'm saying this is a genre that's hugely popular in flat games. So to call it a niche in VR is.
So Dave, let's answer the question then. The question is, what's turning people off from this game?
I don't think anything is turning people off. I think that if you're basing it on your view count, that's one thing. But to be honest, like this game looks so cool and engaging that like if I watched a little trailer of it, I wouldn't even watch a review. I'd just buy the game, honestly. There's something about it that when you see it, you're like, I have to have this. And I feel like I Expect You to Die was so popular, so well received. I think they sold a ton of copies of it. And I think in the long run, Until You Fall will end up in the same spot.
I hope so.
Especially having Quest releases and stuff. Like they're going to sell a ton of copies of this game.
Yeah. It does well on the PC and Quest side for sure. It does a lot better.
I mean, it's not that you need like movement sticks or anything. Like it's just as good on PSVR. So buy this if you guys don't have it.
Yeah,
because it's incredible.
Just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, Swordsman, like I said, Swordsman and Until You Fall came out around the same time, and the reviews came out around the same time. Swordsman, the review of Swordsman VR has almost 40,000 views, and Until You Fall's review has less than 10,000 views.
Maybe your review sucks.
That's surprising.
You don't know it sucks until you watch it. So
your review was kind of late though.
No, nobody shared it because they were like,
wasn't that review like super late?
Couple days, yeah.
It was. Yeah.
And your Swordsman review was on time or no?
Probably on time, but
that usually has a lot.
I mean, these are like you can't base.
I didn't get 40,000 views in Swordsman in the first day.
Brian, one of my most popular videos ever on YouTube is my perfect stream. Mm-hmm. So if you're equating views to the amount of sales or the amount of popularity, I think that proves that's kind of a useless enterprise. Like if perfect is my most popular stream, that has nothing to do with how many sales they made.
Let me tell you
people aren't watching it because I don't think so. I think they're selling pretty well. I think they're selling pretty goddamn well.
I will tell you that where I'm coming from on this is I've talked to plenty of developers after watching, after seeing where my reviews have gone over a couple months and been like, hey, talk to me about sales. Tell me how well your game is sold. And very, very frequently it is like, exactly on par, man. It is like if the review has wicked low numbers, they sold wicked low numbers. And if it has wicked high numbers, they sold wicked high numbers. It's about as clear cut as things get. I'm not saying that's true for every single game, but I would venture to bet that Swordsman VR probably sold really good numbers, and Until You Fall probably had pretty weak numbers. And I think it has a lot to do with when it came out.
No. Oh, I totally disagree with that. I think that Until You Fall has sold way more copies than Swordsman VR.
No, I would bet 1,000 pizzas on that.
On PSVR?
On PSVR,
maybe not on PSVR.
That's not even, that's what I'm talking about.
PSVR, absolutely not.
We are PSVR Gamescast Live, Dave.
No way. No way. Not even close.
I mean, when we're talking about sales, it is kind of short-sighted to only talk about PSVR sales, but I got it. Yeah,
I mean, these are the numbers we're comparing.
On a PSVR?
Yeah, but you're like, why isn't anyone buying this game? And it's like, yeah, they're buying the game.
No, but on PSVR, we're saying, because people still buy games on PSVR, like Swordsman, is what we're saying.
For a lot of people,
Until You
Fall, I'm actually kind of amazed that Swordsman has way more sales than Until You Fall, because I think Until You Fall is a tighter game. I think Until You Fall is a more approachable game. I think Until You Fall is a more exciting game from moment to moment.
Dave, do you remember how long Drunken Bar Fight was on? You remember?
That's one of my top streams. That's like one of my top streams.
Yeah. You remember how long we
top 10 sales.
Those top 10 games, and we're like, why are people still buying? Dude, we don't control what people buy.
That's
right.
But Swordsman isn't even like a dumb Drunken Bar Fight. There's no gag to it. It's not like a meme game. It's not even like Gorner. I don't get why people would buy it over Until You Fall. Not that there's anything wrong with Swordsman. I'd like to.
No, I totally agree with you.
And again, we don't know the numbers.
Two trailers side by side. If you've got $25 in your wallet and you watch the trailer of Until You Fall and then you watch the Swordsman trailer, you're buying Until You Fall. If you got a brain on your head. I don't know. Like, for me, if you have any appreciation for art design and good design and music and presentation and the gameplay of it, like, it's, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I was just posing a fun question, again, based on some speculation. I don't have numbers for the sales of Until You Fall. I don't have numbers for the sales of Swordsman VR. I was just like, just speculating based on more speculation, I guess.
Yeah, speculation's our bread and butter around here. So.
That's right. But I mean, Until You Fall, for me personally, one of my games of the year. I think I was obsessed with this game until I finally beat it, and then as soon as I beat it, I was like, I need to take on a harder difficulty. Like, I mean, this is it's one of those games that seems impossible the first time you play it, and then you're like, I need to go. No, I can't stop until I've completed this task.
Yeah, it's one of those games where the first boss, you die a few times, and you're like, how am I going to beat this dude? And then once you figure it out, every time you see him pop up again, he's like toast. You learn as you go. You develop the techniques that you need to fight certain enemies. It's the perfect kind of roguelike design. Just like Hades, Brian. You should play some Hades.
Yes.
Until You Fall is they're both fantastic games. I like most of the sword fighting games that came out this year. You guys ready to move on
to Star Wars Squadrons?
Oh no, more games.
October 2nd. Absolutely incredible game, in my opinion. AAA game, EA Motive. $40 for this, for just an amazing Star Wars experience. Absolutely.
And I feel like, EA is getting some crazy goodwill here because, first of all, they released a good game with no microtransactions. And they said, oh, we're not going to make you pay for DLC. We're not even going to release DLC. And then all of a sudden they were like, hey, guys, we're going to add a new level. Hey, guys, here's 2 new ships. Hey, here's all these cool new things. And they just keep doing it. Like, they just released this new trilogy of Star Wars movies. They're already announced that they're going to put DLC in the game to go along with that new trilogy of Star Wars things. And so it's like they almost like under-promised and way over-delivered, which is not what you expect from EA games at all. So I think this is a great turnaround for them and a great game. And now they have custom matches you can play with your friends and stuff. Really, really cool stuff. This is a no-brainer. If you like dogfighting games at all, you must get this game.
Real quick, we got Mad Max the Mad Game Cat with a $5 donation saying, love Until You Fall, own both. I think the issue is progress resets every time. If they allowed you to level up core stats, it would have helped sales. Witness.
Well, that's just a roguelike, though. That's just the genre. Like, that's how those games kind of work.
Well, it is definitely a roguelite, and at its core,
okay,
and I 100% agree. One of the things I like actually more about Swords of Gargantua, which of course we'll talk about in a second, are the core stats that you keep leveling up, and Until You Fall is missing that for me because Persistence had many levels of that with blueprints and
that's true.
You know, in the injections and whatever. It's like to upgrade all of your like attributes. So it was like. So I do wish Until You Fall had more of that, but that's like the only thing other than maybe multiplayer that Until You Fall is possibly lacking.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like being able to upgrade your weapons and unlock new weapons is kind of, I mean, your weapons are your stat. A more powerful weapon makes you more powerful, really. And
right.
I like the way that you go through and sort of build your stats as you play the game. You get buffs, you get new things. You know, okay, this will add something to my special skill. This will give me an extra heart point. This will refill my health. I like that trade-off. There's always those two types of roguelites where some of them give you permanent upgrades and some of them just force you to get better at the game.
Right.
And I think different people like different ones.
It's really the difference between roguelikes and roguelites.
I guess. I mean, do you think roguelikes are the ones where you don't get permanent upgrades?
Yeah, like Spelunky 100% is like a roguelike. Until You Fall, Swords, these are roguelites, definitely.
Gotcha.
All right, guys, Squadrons. I mean, like the thing about Squadrons is like we don't even need to talk about it. I think everybody at this point knows how great it is, right?
You should have it by now.
You should definitely have it by now. It's been on sale. Craziness.
And it's got a full campaign too. It's got like a fucking like 8-hour campaign or something. Like it's pretty good.
It's definitely good. Very good. Great story. It gets better as it goes. It's amazing. Yep.
Okay, next was Pistol Whip Heartbreaker update. I was honestly not a big I love Pistol Whip, and I'm really excited about 2089. I was not a fan of this Heartbreaker.
Are we including free DLC on this list? I mean,
yeah, we might as well, just real quick. What did you guys think of the Pistol Whip Heartbreaker
DLC? It was okay. No big deal.
It was free, so it was great.
DLC.
Yeah. Like water guns. It's cool.
Yeah, I did like the guns, and it also had a resolution patch. Mortal Blitz Combat Arena. This was kind of a letdown.
Yeah.
Because I love Mortal Blitz.
This has nothing to do with Mortal Blitz, as far as I can tell. It's like the same company, and they're just like, we're going to make all of our games have the same title, even though they have nothing to do with each other.
It's literally nothing at all to do with each other, and it wasn't very good either.
Yeah, I would have preferred a Mortal Blitz Chapter 2 or whatever.
Everybody would
finished. Yeah,
that's what everybody wanted.
So the demo of Mortal Blitz, if you guys remember on the demo disc back in the good old days, they teased a boss at the end of it, right? That boss doesn't exist. They never made that boss. There is no boss in the game. And I'm like, come on, give us Chapter 2. I want to get to the thing that you teased.
Right. Yeah, no, this was a great excuse to use the aim controller. It was fun to jump into as an experiment. It was like we don't really have free-to-play games on PSVR. And I'll tell you, man, if you want to jump in on this and start spending money, they gave you a lot of reasons to spend money. I mean, like it was just...
a lot of options to spend money, not reasons to spend money. I think I would clarify there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was confusing too for people like us who don't play a lot of free to play games, or at least like me, who spend most of my time in VR and we don't really experience this shit. Like I don't play a lot of mobile games, and the mobile games I do play don't have this stuff. It was just like, I mean, they just flooded the PlayStation store. It was like tile after tile after tile after tile purchasing options. Whereas like I don't even fucking know what the difference between this $20 and this $30 thing is. It's just like too fucking much, man. It was like it just seemed like such a cash grab. And I'm sure that a lot of free-to-play games are exactly the same as this. It was fun to jump in.
Oh, yeah.
But after 4 rounds of playing and using my aim controller and being like, okay, like I didn't want to spend more time with this, and I definitely didn't want to spend more money or any money on this. So, pass. Complete pass.
Yep, I'll pass on that too. Even though it's free, there's other games to play.
Quick, Mad Max the Mad Game Cat says, hold on, Demon Souls is roguelike with permanent stats. So that makes it a roguelike.
Demon Souls is unfortunately not a roguelike. Demon Souls is the same every time. There's nothing generated about Demon Souls is not a roguelike. Yeah, everyone's saying it's not a roguelike. Yeah. But thanks for the tip.
It's been a while since I played it. You know, you're absolutely right. These are not procedurally generated levels. There's like a whole series of things. It's not just like, oh, you have to replay the same thing every time. It's a whole series of look it up. It's there's a ton of requirements to be called a roguelike, and then just enough alterations for it to be called a roguelite. I'm oversimplifying it here because we don't have time to go into it.
AJ's saying it's a Soulsborne.
It's a Soulsborne.
It's a Soulsborne.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It's
Next.
a Metroidvania.
So let's see, that was October 8th when Mortal Blitz came around, and then we didn't get anything till October 27th, which is when we got the follow-up to Form, which was Twilight Path by Charm Games. This was, unfortunately, another one of those games where I feel like it's limits itself because it's episode 1 of a greater story.
And I feel like, did they ever release episode 2?
No, I mean, the game didn't come out that long ago.
Okay.
And so I don't really know if how well it's done or how well it's going to do, and so you just don't know if they're actually going to keep continuing the story.
I never expect them to. Like anybody who's got a chapter 1 on it, I'm like, well, I'll see you never after I buy this game. Like that's usually how it works.
Yeah, this to me is like again. I said this so many times on the show where the game starts off so promising, and it's just it's like oh man, I love the magical feel and the feeling of this world, and oh look, I'm like doing this, and then it's like inventive and interesting, and I felt like the second I got into like the mystical world, like I was like, ooh, the art style took a dive, like some of the voice acting was good, but it was like just stolen, it felt like from better like animes. I don't know, man, like there was nothing about this story that I enjoyed, and the puzzles were almost identical to Form. So it was like, oh, put the square peg in the square hole again. There were some better puzzles though. I was hoping this was going to be a nice little episodic never ending story type thing, and it just didn't capture any magic for me.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it. I heard your opinions on it and decided to pass.
Oh.
Because I wasn't a huge fan of Form. And when I heard that it was kind of more of the same and wasn't that compelling and was a chapter 1 and all that stuff, I was like, yeah, I don't need to really get invested in this. So everyone's saying the next episodic game I'm waiting on is Tarzan. They want Tarzan. AJ says, can't wait for Tarzan VR episode 6.
Nice. Well, let's see. After Twilight Path, that brings us to just 3 days later. We finally got Ninja Legends after basically a year of speculation, being like, when the hell is this game coming to PlayStation VR?
We're getting into stuff that's in recent memory now. Like I feel like this wasn't that long ago. Like we're finally, it was like 2 months ago. Like 3 hours, we're like finally here.
Yeah, for sure. Ninja Legends. I mean, just like if wave shooters you're already burnt out on them, then I don't feel like a sword or wave slasher really does the trick any better.
Oh yeah, I have no positive recommendations about this game. Like I love the concept of slicing a guy in half and then he goes ka-shunk and he falls apart in pieces.
Yeah,
but that's literally the only satisfying thing that I got out of this game. Nothing else was fun. I didn't have fun with this game.
I thought I was gonna like it more than I did.
Yep.
It was just, I don't know, there was some clunky game design stuff like the boss fights and just too much jank for
it's like a $25 game too. It's like it should have been $5. This feels like a $5 game to me.
Mad Max, I didn't mean to hide your comment.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to read the comment that AJ accidentally hid because I can see that because I'm a mod. Mad Max the Game Cat says, I blame AJ for me buying that piece of shit game Ninja Legends.
That was totally an accident. That was totally an accident.
I remember when you were excited and I was like, I've played this. It's not that cool.
Yeah, I was excited. I like these kinds of games typically, but yeah, it just didn't. There's things I do like about it, but it's just there's so many just way better quality sword fighting games. We just talked about Until You Fall and Swordsman VR, and those are just so much better. December 1st.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're in last month.
We got Trip VR, fitness for your inner
like your
self.
Most hated. You hated this one, right?
People seem to really like this, and I don't know why.
It's not a game, and you don't like things that aren't games, but it's an app for meditation and relaxation where you daily.
Think about that for a second.
I mean, I think I'm not far off, but it's like a relaxation meditation app. If you put this thing on your phone, it can like track your mental state over several days. But like each day they have a new meditation of 2 different styles, and it's just like this trippy little thing you go through. It's not the best thing in the world. It's not the worst thing in the world, but there are people who will like this sort of thing and get something out of it. And it's unique. We don't have anything else like it on PSVR. So I'm not going to say thumbs up, but like it's not the worst thing in the world.
I say
It's
the same thing about
$20.
all of these games or all of these experiences or all of these apps, and that's that. I feel I get more tranquility, I get more peace and meditation, relaxation out of going and sitting next to a stream in Skyrim. And then after I get bored of that after 10 minutes, because you will get bored of this shit after 10 minutes, then you stand up and you've got a full fucking game to play. And it's like, I don't understand the need for this kind of stuff. And I know there's people out there that absolutely love it or
so
think it's
there's
great.
a difference. So to be honest, there is a difference between sitting next to a babbling brook and somebody taking you through a guided meditation. Like, they produce different effects. Honestly, they do, or else meditation wouldn't exist. People would just be sitting next to rivers all the time. All I'm saying is it's too expensive. I do think that the part of it's like a service. Like, each day is a new recording of a new meditation and stuff. They do reuse stuff, but they kind of go out of their way to try to make it like, hey, there's something fresh every day you can come back to. So you're paying the $20 for a daily thing that changes. It's not like you get a set, series of meditations. They do a really silly fucking thing at the end where they put all these pictures of dogs on these floating orbs, and if you turn left and right, they look at you, and it's the creepiest, weirdest little stupid thing I've ever seen. I don't know how it's supposed to be relaxing. Otherwise,
I totally agree with Steve Irie. Tetris Effect is much more of a
Tetris Effect is better
experience. And
no,
stuff.
It's not. I mean, no. A guided meditation is a meditative. Like, it's what I'm saying is that it can feel relaxing and you get in the zone and stuff. But if you're looking for meditation, then Trip VR is meditation. This is not. Like, Tetris VR is great. I love Tetris, but they're different things.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. I agree with Mario, too, that says Rez is awesome. Finally, the last game of the year we received was December 8th, and it was Swords of Gargantua. This has been Brian's addiction the last couple weeks.
Well, before the flu, I suppose.
Before the flu, yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't. I've been laying in bed this whole time, going, man, I really wish I had I didn't feel nauseous. I wish I could get out of bed for more than 20 minutes at a time, because even being sick, I kept going. Man, I really want to do another run of Swords of Gargantua. We came up with different strategies. It's one of these games. It's where, kind of like Until You Fall, where you get through a number of levels on your own, and then you die, and then you're like, well, I'm gonna go tackle that with friends, and then you get through a number of levels, and then you die, and you're like, man, this is fucking tough. And then finally you get to the boss, and then the boss kills you in seconds, and you're like, wow, that's really tough. That's gonna take me a while. And then after fighting the boss over and over and over, it becomes this monumental task that you're like, how are we ever going to do this? To being like, oh my God, we actually did it. To going, oh, I think we got this down. We can probably do it every time. To being like, we can kill the boss in 6 seconds now. And now I can kill the boss in 6 seconds on my own. And it's this progression that you're witnessing. And the whole time you're leveling up weapons, and you're gaining XP, and you're leveling up your character. And it's just this, it just feels like you are getting better at the game, and your character is getting better, and your weapons are getting better, and I just love the sense of progression that this game offers. I need more, but man, I still can't get enough of it.
For me, the we, you kept saying we, because this is a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
So the we is important. For me, that word is the only reason that I'm interested in this game. I don't. If I was playing the single player, I would rather play Until You Fall every single day of the week. But this has multiplayer, and Until You Fall doesn't. And they're different styles of game a little bit, too. I wasn't as blown away by it as you guys were. I think I had some middling opinions on it when it first came out on Quest, and it's gotten better since then, I will say. But it didn't really take me. I love multiplayer stuff, and that's the fun that I had with it. But beyond that, if you can't find a group of friends to play with or something, I don't know how hard I would recommend it.
I did actually enjoy this some single player, not as much as Until You Fall. I think Until You Fall is definitely a far superior single player game. I still like this single player though, but as a multiplayer game, it is just so much fun to grab the cats and go in and just clobber 100 levels of enemies with great swords and stuff. I'm a sucker for great swords and buster swords, and I love leveling the items and stuff. I like this game a lot. I definitely had a great experience with it. Needs to be cheaper, but overall, pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how much cheaper it needs to be. Like, what is it, a $30 game?
Yeah,
and it's like I've gotten $30 of game out of this.
I have technically, yes.
It feels like it should be cheaper because it's a little bit janky and a little bit clunky. But I mean,
it's a $20 game.
Yeah, it feels be a great $20 game, and hopefully that would get more people playing it. But I mean, I don't know, man. I just hope these guys keep supporting their game because I feel like as long as they keep adding content to it, keep adding new weapons, keep adding new quests, like there's this could go an infinite number of places. I would love if they added, from the lobby, if you could go down this big lighted hallway, or like, oh, let's just add a cave over here where it's like an entirely separate quest, and then eventually, in like 5 years from now, that lobby where you're standing, there's like 5 different corridors you could go down and start like one of 5 different campaigns, and then finish by killing one of 5 different bosses, with each different difficulty levels. This game shouldn't be as much fun as it is, but like Dave was saying, the multiplayer is where this is at. It's great single player, but it's multiplayer focused. And for me, it's just about going in and like shooting the shit with your friends while you're killing a bunch of dudes. Because at this point, the difficulty is sort of waning. I'm not really concerned about dying anymore. Now it's just about leveling up my dude as much as I possibly can. So now it's like we just shoot the shit, we talk, we hang out, we have fun, we kill dudes along the way. I love it.
And I think I agree with you on that. I mean, that's totally my thing, the multiplayer. But as far as calling it a campaign, if you haven't played this, guys, don't expect a campaign. Like, if you think of the word campaign, you have a certain idea in your head.
More of arena combat.
It's a series of arenas, and for a good, maybe
boss battle at
15, for a good 10 levels, you'll have the same arena, and you'll fight a little bit of different guys. But it's really just a few guys in an arena, and then the arena changes, and there's different guys in the arena. So just don't expect like a campaign if you're thinking of something like that. That word is a little bit loaded when people get into it. Like Star Wars Squadrons is a campaign.
Right.
This is a series of levels that go from less hard to more hard.
It's not wildly different than Until You Fall in its layout.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Hugh Guyver with the Australian $10 saying PSVR without parole. Fire, fire, fire. I'm going to give a shout out right back to Hugh and Mac saying, Hugh, Mac,
what a Mac.
Fire, fire, fire.
Hell yeah, man. So that is it, guys. That was the entire review of 2020. Yes.
Can we start over?
Almost 4 hours long, little bit long there. Yeah, but no, I think overall, this there were some long stretches and some long droughts, but I really think from between summer and the end of fall, this year was literally one of the best that PSVR has ever had. Saints and Sinners, Dreams, Marvel's Iron Man VR, stuff like Final Assault that were kind of sleeper hits, Pistol Whip, lots of Beat Saber updates, Swordsman, Until You Fall, so many really quality games that came out this year. I think this was, to me, one of the most like really big years for PSVR.
Yeah. This was a fantastic year for PSVR.
Tons of good stuff.
It's sort of like Dreams, right? There's so many amazing things to play. You just got to kind of filter out all the crap that gets in the way sometimes. You don't judge a game's library based on the crap, and we got a lot of crap this year. You judge a game's library based on the standouts. And man, this year gave us so many standouts that, like, this is definitely one of the best years ever.
Yeah. And, it's exciting. We're already off to a great start with this year. We have a lot, there's a lot of questions surrounding 2021. We're not exactly sure.
Are we going to survive
it? We don't know. But it's exciting, man, because I think it is. I think, honestly, Hitman comes out in 2 weeks, and Hitman is going to personally keep me preoccupied for a long time. Mm-hmm. That is the significance. That's one of the things that people want all the time is they want AAA VR games. And it's always been this egg and the chicken thing. It's like, well, do you get AAA VR games first, or do you get the hardware sold first and then get AAA VR games? And luckily, you know, that's the beauty of being on the PSVR side is Sony throws money at these developers and says, give us like a VR mode. I don't know, exclusive or not. Usually it's like a timed exclusive. And so it's pretty awesome, man. So I'm really excited for Hitman, and yeah, can't wait. We're going to be talking about a lot of Hitman next week.
That's right. Probably some Hitman next week. Probably, this episode was supposed to be our New Year's Eve episode where we sort of said goodbye to 2020. 2020. Yeah. Why does that sound weird? I always say 2020, 2020. We kind of say goodbye to that, and we talk about like the year as a whole, and we walk you through it like we just did, and then we bring in the new year, and then this week was supposed to be our, about like, hey, we're going to talk about a lot of games that are coming our way, along with Hitman. So that all got pushed up a week, and so expect that next week. We're going to talk about a lot of upcoming games, anticipated games, our impressions of the flat screen Hitman games, what we expect from Hitman 3 VR. And so, 2021 is obviously going to start off pretty slow. If you were paying attention during the 2020 breakdown, then you saw that like 2020 took a while to get started.
Summer is usually where things pick. Summer and fall have always been huge for PSVR. That's when we got Astrobot, Firewall, Beat Saber, Tetris Effect, and like a couple other games all at once.
Yep.
And it just seems to be a big time for PSVR.
But luckily this year, man, like we're going to have Hitman to carry us through a lot of downtime. And we know of a ton of games that are coming out in Q1. We confirmed a bunch of those during the award show. And we talked to a bunch of developers that, are like, oh, it's coming soon. Don't worry. It's like no dates, but it's coming soon. So this is going to be a very, very interesting year. A lot of games get delayed out of last year into this year, and a lot of games are already slated for this year. And so you start combining all those, and games are going to start piling up on top of each other again. And we probably haven't even heard of a good number of them yet.
We'll get Beat Saber multiplayer and Pistol Whip 2089 and something else.
We'll get them all in September, October. Fucking Christ, dude. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Obviously, this was a way longer episode than we anticipated, than we planned.
I knew it was going to be 4 hours long. I told you.
You stretched it out, man. The number of times you went on a rant, and I was like, he's doing it, man. He's going to make this into a 4-hour episode.
I have to tell you, Brian, I held my tongue because there were times when you and AJ were going on some topic, and I was like, this is way unnecessary to talk about. That whole thing where you're talking about your embargoes for Saints and Sinners for 10 fucking minutes. You cannot say anything to me.
That was
egregious. It wasn't funny at all.
It was funny for us. It was funny.
Yeah, it's funny to you guys. All I'm saying is, come on, don't blame me.
You're just mad because you weren't in on it.
I'm not. I got the same email.
So
I just didn't feel like telling my 5-minute version of the same story that
here's the funny part. Here's the funny part.
Yeah.
Before we started the show, Dave said, "So we can make this like a 2-hour episode, right?" Because
I said we should make this.
Right?
I said we should make this a 2-hour episode.
Let us do our best. Here we are, almost 4 hours in.
That's because I didn't realize we were talking about.
Deathly,
I didn't realize. So some more inside baseball. I didn't realize we were talking about every god. Okay,
you're gonna deny Deathly the Death Cat?
Fine, talk over.
I had a lot of fun this episode, so thank you guys so much for hanging out with us and listening to our ridiculous stories that probably no one cares about. It was fun getting back together with Dave and AJ, of course, because it's again, I've been in bed for a week, and I don't even really answer the phone when people call anymore, so I haven't been talking to these guys very much.
They're alive,
and that's really strange for me. So it was nice. It was getting to hang out with my friends again, and getting to hang out with all of you who are my friends, and to be able to continue to hang out with us. Make sure you join Discord. The link is in the description below. It is free. I just heard from somebody who's confused, thinking it costs money to join Discord. It doesn't. If this is your first time using Discord, it is just a free place to hang out and chat with us and chat with all the other game cats out there. It is very fun. Make sure you hit us up over on patreon.com/withoutparolegames where where everyone can support the channel financially. Don't feel as though you need to again, and make sure you go join us on Discord, and I think we'll save all the other housekeeping notes for viewer takeover because this show's gone on way too long. Subscribe to Dave over at Daystation VR and follow him on Twitter. Subscribe to AJ over at PSVR Underground and follow him on Twitter. Thank you to everybody. We love you all. We should cue the fucking cat.
Cue the cat.
Oh wait, first show my otter.
The cat's been cued.
Fuck.
because I want to say
hold on.
okay,
we're back. What are we looking at?
So this is my otter. I redid my office space, and I got this little otter that I've had since I was a kid. It's a Beanie Baby from when I was a kid. This must be like fucking 20 years old. But I decided I would put it on my desk because I love otters. Anyways, thanks, guys. Let's cue the cat.
You're so just trying to stretch this out. I love it. Cue the cat.
All right, because Mad Max, the Mad Game Cat Witness. Good night to you, sir. The Triangulator, thank you so much. David Moore with the Discord link posted. Thank you so much, man.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure you come hit us up. Guys, on fist bump to you. Just Incredible VR, my dude. The juice is loose. Duran Fan VR, the Game Cat. Good to see you, man. Happy New Year to you. Steve IRE, thank you so much. Aceville, the Attack Cat. 8 goddamn minutes, I know. Nick Mulo, thank you so much. Zach Lightning, I use Discord for work. How do I? David, the Game Cat. When is Gorn coming out, though? I don't know. Someday.
When is Gorn coming out?
We will have it covered. The Void Citizen, Farpoint Rolls, Bob Zarkoff, the Underground, Dave Station, Game Cat, Elite Name Squad in the house. What is up, dude? Arlen Theodori, thank you so much. Gamer Chick 13, Saints and Sinners, Saints and Sinners. Johnny No Pockets, aka the Who Dat Game Cat. Let's see, Josh Susky, thank you so much for joining in, hanging out. Rose TR, hello. Good to see you, man. As always, Decepticon. Aw, yeah. Virtual Player Cat, thank you. Yeah, Rouge. Yeah, I know.
Oh, let's call him Rouge.
That's why I called him Rouge. Elbert,
Rugi.
the Speed Demon Lava. Professor Lil, thank you so much. Earthcock, hello.
Earthcock.
I think that's his name.
Earthcock? Wait,
his name looks like
what is the Earthcock?
Earthcock. It's spelled differently, but it looks like
I'm
Earthcock.
trying to find this.
Yeah, I gotta find this too.
Weck.
Earthcock.
I don't know.
I like that name.
Thank you guys so much. Love y'all. We back, baby.
Happy New Year, everybody.
We're back.
Wow.